I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative, I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase a bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. Lonely now, I give up everything. Daunting though, if I could see my dreams, I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go, don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality.
I just wanna find a way out, sick of the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this. I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. All I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting though, if I can see my dream, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything, want a reality. Lonely now, I'll give up everything, daunting though, if I can see my dreams, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go, don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. I wake up every minute with a fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Stroke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. 'Cause I'm my own worst enemy, only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and it's a little Sunday edition. I got bored. I was like, my back was hurting, and I got tired of being in bed, dealing with this back. This back's been killing me all day today with the snow. We've been getting a good amount of snow today, and it's just kind of like a wet snow, and it's really bothering my bones in my neck, in my back, my knee. Everything's just hurting. I feel old. Not good. Not good because I'm getting older. Actually, my birthday's on Wednesday, the 21st. So, yeah, I am getting older. But fuck, man, these pains, I'm already feeling it at 46. God, man, it's going to be horrible being old for me. That sucks. But hey, it's okay. We live another day. Thank God we're still alive. And let's get to it. Got some stuff to watch here tonight. I got a good little lineup for a Sunday night feature. So make sure you grab your popcorns and get your favorite drinks. And let's watch some of this news we're going to be watching, some current events live on My Mind Over Your Matter. So here we go.
This whole celebrity idea is eroding. The whole fame idea is eroding. That shit was sold to us, y'all. You got people out here that are human, that are acting every day of their life. They're not even real. They just on NPC every day. They acting. They don't even know. The world is a stage, dog. And it's a lot of terrible actors. It's a lot of terrible actors out here. The world is a stage. There's a lot of terrible actors, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it, dog. I'm just gonna say it. I tried to tell Spice beforehand. I said it, but the whole idea of celebrity, bro. If you're not a real person and you can't stand on your morals and principles out here, move out the way. You can't stand on any principles and morals out here as a person that's trying to see this world become better. Move out the way for the time being. I'm not paying attention to all the, the beefs going on or.
It seems these days that almost anything can become the topic of conspiracy theories, and that includes one of America's major airports. Opened in 1995, Denver International has long been the subject of wild speculation. Well, when the airport began a major renovation project, they decided it was a chance to play along. Barry Peterson has that story.
Flying saucers have invaded our planet. Washington, London, Paris.
If the saucers ever do come, may we suggest another landing zone, Denver's airport, where some say the welcome signs are already up for gargoyles. And are they really making a new home for the lizard people as workers remodel the main terminal? And why is this guy, well, this thing, shushing us? It's all out of focus and weird.
Well, one may say these are the type of visitors that we have underground in our facility.
Thanks largely because he is seemingly always at the center of some kind of controversy. It began with his insistence that the earth is flat, then it was amplifying theories about the JFK assassination, and then the legitimacy of dinosaurs. Then they got more serious in nature. He's amplified baseless conspiracy theories from Alex Jones. Earlier this season, the Brooklyn Nets suspended him because he refused to apologize for promoting an anti-Semitic film that denied the Holocaust. Nike dropped his endorsement deal after that situation. He also spent significant time on the court during the pandemic when he was vocally anti-vaccine. We spoke to Ada Drizzen, the founder of a Dallas synagogue, about the Mavs' move to bring in a player with such a troubled history.
I don't know what Ms. Irving has said about what happened while he was in Brooklyn, but I hope he's had a little bit maybe of a change of heart and, just is coming to Dallas ready to help the Mavericks win, but also, open to discussion and dialogue, maybe even about it.
Well, the New York tabloids certainly have some dialogue about it. Take a look at this on the back page of the New York Daily News. It reads in big bold letters, he's your headache now. The message they're sending to Dallas. It also adds, that's deal Kyrie to Mavs for, oh, who cares? He's finally gone. So they're just happy to be rid of him. Now, we want to point out that once he was suspended and lost his shoe deal, Irving did eventually apologize for those anti-Semitic sentiments.
Since it opened in 1995, America's fifth busiest airport has swirled with conspiracy theories. How the runways make a swastika. How the blue Mustang statue earned the nickname Blucifer after it fell over and killed the artist. And then the murals. Some show peaceful times, some show apocalypse. If art is in the eye of the beholder, conspiracy investigative journalist Jay Widener beholds doom.
City underwater, flaming forests. This is scary stuff.
It's telling people in the know what this airport is all about.
This theory says baggage handlers share basement space with a secret underground railroad to bunkers in the Rocky Mountains, where top government officials will survive nuclear war.
I heard that it's maglev. The whole thing is
magnetic levitation.
Magnetic levitation.
Just like Kirk, a little older, a little wiser, a little weirder. Well, as you know, Denver International has some strong conspiracy theories. So to make the airport experience a little more fun and keep with the theme for those traveling through DIA, the airport embraced the weirdness. A talking gargoyle dropped by to give travelers his 2 cents and got plenty of laughs.
That's a little too close for comfort, lady.
Oh, damn.
What, you never seen a talking gargoyle before? Welcome to Illuminati headquarters. I mean, Denver International Airport.
This is awesome.
Hello? Do I know you?
Are you hungry?
Oh, I'm starving. You got anything for me? Those flowers look delicious.
Oh, it's because of the conspiracy.
Oh, it's because of the conspiracy. Look at me. I'm a little know-it-all. Will you get back over here? I got a question about this conspiracy. You know, you can actually put the phone down and have a conversation with me. But no, I'm a millennial. I've got to post it. I've got to snap face it and Twitter book it.
You're such a sweet talker.
Will you take me back home with you?
Let's go. I have some space in my backpack.
Actually, I think you have too much baggage for me.
There too, huh, guys? Now, DIA says the gargoyle is a frequent flyer, racking up those miles. What, you think Southwest, Frontier Card, one of the two? And the gargoyle will be at the airport again soon, so they tell us to tell you, the passengers, keep an eye out in the future. You never know when you might see him.
I can only imagine, say someone came out here for the cannabis tourism and going back home to the airport.
Like Denver's weird, man. They got gargoyles at their airport.
The gargoyle was talking to me, dude. No, it wasn't.
Happy birthday, DIA. But I think, in all seriousness, traveling stressful.
Who was doing the voice? Do we know who?
I don't know how they did it. I don't know who was doing the voice.
It's funny. That person was funny.
Is it still out there?
No, they said not today. Travel plans not today at DI, but you never know in the future. And it makes traveling a little more fun, which I think is cool. Nice job, DI.
Traveling's not so fun when this happens in your morning.
Pay close attention to her eyes the whole time. Look how big they are. And one goes without the other. There's that.
Yeah, they're among us. Definitely among us. Creepy ass people. Look at those eyes. Creepy eyes. We live in hell. That's what I've been saying. We live in hell and we're praying for Jesus to come and save us. That's what it is. Because we're living in hell. We did something wrong in our past lives and we're here. You know? This is our punishment. And once you serve your term, then you go to your next life. You go to another vibration. Literally, you go into vibration and you go into static. And you become static energy. It's creepy. It went silent by itself. I think he did it that way. Let me see. Yeah. That's the way he did the video. To me. I don't know. It's just some weird shit. My freaking neck hurts. Damn, she look creepy as fuck. She look creepy as fuck. Thank you, Jason A. Let's keep it moving. We got a lot to watch.
Well, looks like we are getting a McDonald's.
Oh, Lord.
What's up, guys? It's Ben A. For the third time in 100 years, Germany has surrendered to America, retreated, and begged forgiveness. I can't believe I couldn't say that, but it's 100% true because Germany was part of this really pathetic force that NATO sent to defend Greenland. It's one of the biggest islands on Earth. It is very rustic. It is untamed wilderness. And 15 French soldiers, 13 German soldiers, 2 Norwegian soldiers, 2 Finnish soldiers, 1 British soldier, and 1 Belgium soldier is not going to do the trick here. This is an image of the full force that NATO has sent to defend this monster island that is right off the coast of Canada, that is not too far from America, that is in our hemisphere, and that rightly, truly does belong to America. And the reason why I can say that is because during World War II, you know, the last time that all of you asshats couldn't defend yourselves, well, America had to go defend Greenland. You know, Denmark was conquered without really a shot even being fired. They just surrendered the Germans. That means they surrendered Greenland, and America had to go be the administrator of Greenland. We had to send American destroyers and submarines to Greenland so the Germans didn't seize it and then have a giant base right off our coast. So these dumbass Europeans have been, you know, messing stuff up for a very long time. Firefighter jets over Greenland. President Trump is not having any of it and is saying, well, you know what? It's time for us to actually administer this island once more and for good. Trump is imposing tariffs on all of the nations that launched this pathetic little force to try and defend the island. Again, I wonder how long these guys would last if you had the same guys who black-bagged Maduro in the dark of night when he was surrounded by 300 really well-trained soldiers with really great equipment. Yeah, I don't think it'd be a long battle. Well, anyway, Europe is losing their mind and freaking out because President Trump is promising tariffs and lighting a trade deal on fire with Europe. And he's doing that. It accounts for, in the case of Germany, we did the math here, $3 billion per soldier. So that's what each soldier on Greenland, that's what it costs, $3 billion to Germany. So this isn't great. And now they're freaking out. The Europeans are losing their minds. And what do they do when they lose their minds? Oh, they're calling a meeting. The EU is calling another meeting. They're going to send more letters and have more meetings. Yeah, okay. You know, screw that. That's just not the way that you operate. And Europe has, you know, post-colonial hangover that's going on right now, and they've forgotten how to be superpowers. They've forgotten how to run the world. It's very sad. It's pathetic, but that's just the way that it works. And, you know, nations are always rising and falling. And right now is a time for America to rise. Germany withdraws all 15 troops from Greenland. There you go. Germany has surrendered to President Trump. There you go. Good Sunday. Germany is withdrawing all their 15 troops from Greenland after President Trump issued tariffs on 8 European nations. Bundeswehr soldiers leave Greenland. There you go. The reconnaissance team left Greenland. 15 soldiers left the Arctic island on a civilian plane. They didn't even have a military plane. It's really pathetic. They had to fly coach. There's photos of it. President Trump promised that it would be a very bad day for European nations that have soldiers there. Germany plans to withdraw 15 of their troops from Greenland after Trump announced his tariffs. Germany is not defending Greenland anymore. All 15 soldiers have left as Donald Trump announced a 10% tariff. Germany withdraws its troops. There you go. EU will lose Greenland in the coming days. Europe finally means business in Greenland. Troops are pouring in to stand up to Trump. Checks actual numbers. Germany just surrendered. Norway. This is not a military buildup. This is a Euro road trip for the lads. That's exactly right. Unelected officials are screaming Greenland is for the Greenlanders. Germany is for the Germans. You go to jail. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's amazing how much they're going to defend this, but they won't even defend their own nations. They'll allow their own nations to be invaded by infinity Syrians and Afghanis, right? After everything America's done for Europe over the last 120 years, handing over Greenland is a tame ask. It's a no-brainer for the continent that wishes to continue their national security welfare dependency. Why should these nations, these European nations that pay zero to NATO, zero for their own defense, look at how much America pays. Why should these pathetic nations get free welfare national security? And then, by the way, this is percent of GDP. This is not total numbers. This is a percentage of GDP. Look at how much more America pays for the defense of Europe than Europe pays.
Crazy.
And then they say that they're going to keep their precious little like Greenland that is in our hemisphere, right off our coast. No, I mean, this should just be. I mean, it should go without saying that we will hand over Greenland for you to continue to protect us. This is how it works when you are the vassal state. Germany won't spend money on their own defense in NATO, but they will buy first-class tickets for the soldiers they sent to Greenland for a 2-day fishing trip. Not only the German military flying commercial, but first class. Back of the plane for me. Look at here. These are the scary German soldiers that are here, checking X, no doubt, with their Apple Watches. It's pathetic, honestly. How far everyone has fallen. Now, there are some people that are community noting this and so on, and I want to be fair and get read the community note and read stuff like this that says that the Germany announced that a 13-person reconnaissance team would deploy for this mission. The framework of the mission had them returning today, flying home. People are saying that this doesn't mean that Germany is in retreat. Okay. That's fine. Maybe this was planned to return home today. What I'm saying here is that if you wanted to send a message of strength, you wouldn't have your soldiers at the airport checking their bags like a bunch of dorks. You wouldn't have them flying back, where people can just take photos of them, like scrolling through X on a filthy plane, right? You would have them stay. If you wanted to send a message of strength, I mean, what do you think Trump would do in this situation? He would have these soldiers stay to send a message. They're not sending a message. No, Trump's the only one sending the message, right? Posting stuff like this. And President Trump sending a message at the White House and through his intermediaries, like Stephen Miller, who was, again, just on Fox News, explaining very clearly exactly why Greenland must be administered by the United States of America. You won't hear a better explanation than this.
Greenland is essential for America's national security. The new domain of international competition is going to be polar competition. That is where more and more resources are being spent by our nation's adversaries and rivals, is the ability to control movement, navigation, lanes of travel in the polar and Arctic regions. Greenland is 25% larger than Alaska. Greenland is the size of 1/4 of the continental United States. With respect to Denmark, Denmark is a tiny country with a tiny economy and a tiny military. They cannot defend Greenland. They cannot control the territory of Greenland. Under every understanding of law that has existed about territorial control for 500 years, to control a territory, you have to be able to defend a territory, improve a territory, inhabit a territory. Denmark has failed on every single one of these tests. So they want us to spend hundreds of billions of dollars defending a territory for them that is 25% bigger than Alaska at 100% American expense. But they say, while we do this, it belongs 100% to Denmark. It's a raw deal. It's an unfair deal. And most importantly, it's unfair to the American taxpayer who have subsidized all of Europe's defense for generations now. American dollars, American treasure, American blood, American ingenuity is what keeps Europe safe and the free world safe. And Donald Trump's insisting that we be respected, Sean.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, control.
Joining me now in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is Texas Senator Ted Cruz, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Maria, good morning. Good to be with you.
Well, there's a lot to talk about, Senator. Let's start with Iran, where dissent right now is being punished. I want to get your take on what President Trump should do regarding Iran.
Well, Maria, I have to say we are living in extraordinary times.
That's what I've been saying.
That is occurring across the globe. There is a very real possibility that in the next 6 months, the regimes in Iran, in Venezuela, and Cuba will all fall. There is a real possibility that Iran, Venezuela, and Cuba will all democratically elect new leaders, and instead of fomenting violence, fomenting attacks on America, instead of waging war on America, there is a real chance in the next 6 months that the people of those three countries will elect leaders who embrace freedom and free enterprise and who want to stand with America. And I got to say, if that happens, it is difficult to think of anything more consequential. You have to go back to the fall of the Berlin Wall and to America winning the Cold War without firing a shot to find a time as pivotal as where we are right now. If you look at Iran, Iran for 50 years has been the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. They have paid for and funded 90% of the funding of Hamas comes from Iran. 90% of the funding for Hezbollah comes from Iran. Iran funds terrorists all across the globe, including sending terrorists to, among other places, Venezuela, and targeting Americans. Right now, there are over 1 million Iranians that are showing unbelievable courage, standing up against this tyrannical regime. And I got to say, President Trump, I think, has been very strong in telling the regime, number one, we stand with the people. Do not target, do not murder the protesters, telling the protesters, America stands with you. And I got to say, just in the last 2 days, a really important step occurred where President Trump came out unequivocally and said, it is time for new leadership in Iran. Yes. It is time for the Ayatollah Khamenei, his religious dictatorship, to end. I think that's massively important.
So what happens next? Because as you know, Senator, first the president said help is on the way, and then pulled back a bit with this expectation that the killings have stopped. At that point, thousands of people had already been killed, and the people on the streets are hoping that the United States does something. Would you endorse that the U.S. goes in and takes action?
Well, look, I think the U.S. should be taking every step possible to end this regime. The Ayatollah Khamenei hates America. He regularly leads massive mobs chanting death to America. In fact, every year in Iran, they celebrate as a holiday Death to America Day. It's the anniversary of the Iranian Revolution and taking over the U.S. Embassy in 1979. And so the reason that President Trump ordered a B-2 attack on Iran's nuclear facilities is he made the right decision as commander-in-chief, that if that theocratic dictator got nuclear weapons, the odds were unacceptable that he would use nuclear weapons to murder thousands or even millions of Americans. That was the single most important foreign policy decision the president has made this second term. And when it comes to the protest, I think what is most important is making clear that America is with the people. Contrast this to 2009. 2009, you had the so-called Green Revolution.
I couldn't take the whole weekend off.
The Iranian
There's
people
just too much going on that I want to cover at least today.
Different decision. He was a new president.
I think it's going to be a busy week.
America stands with the regime, stands with the Ayatollah.
It's going to be a real busy week.
The protest.
It's my birthday on Wednesday. But besides my birthday, I feel like something, I feel the energy is just really hyped. Like strong energy.
Pay the price. He called on
I feel uncomfortable.
Make a list.
I got a lot of pain in my neck, in my back.
That is powerful because it
I'm very
causes
sensitive
the IRGC members, the soldiers, to pause and think before they carry out those murders. I hope and believe that America is doing everything we can to support the protesters on the ground. There are lots of steps we can and should be taking short of a bombing strike. And I have every belief that if the Ayatollah engages in mass murder against the protesters, that President Trump will order direct military responses. So this is a moment where the Ayatollah and mullahs, I think they're fundamentally weakened. They are weakened by the fact that last year they lost a war. And you know, sometimes people forget there are real world consequences to losing a war, not just communication, not just messaging, but real world. In the 12-day war, they utterly and completely lost it. If you're a dictator, your strength depends on convincing your people that you are invulnerable, that you cannot be beaten. Even worse than losing a war.
Yeah, for some reason, the weather, it's just been hitting me a lot more. Like,
that's what happened to the Ayatollah, which is why I predicted months ago we would see what we're seeing now. The Iranian
it's so
people
fucking weird. Like, my neck was hurting so much. My back's been driving me crazy all
Senator, the
weekend.
Iranian government doesn't want anyone to see what's going on the ground. I saw one report that if you go out in the street right now in Iran and you're a protester, you will be shot dead immediately. So what are they doing?
Oh my
They're
God.
yelling from their windows, "Death to the Khomeini," and "Down with the regime" from their windows so that they don't have to go down. I
Wow.
want to get your take on what we should be doing in that
Yeah,
regard.
that
because the
sucks, bro.
government
I hope
reportedly
you feel better soon, because
sever
I feel like
its
shit,
citizens
man.
from the
I
global
feel
internet. That's from the New York Post
the
this
snow
morning,
has been
confirming that instead they
pretty
wanted to have
nice,
a
but
state-run system
I've
as
been
part
like
of
more
this
pain
crackdown on dissent.
because it's
And
been
then
like a
there's
wet snow.
Greenland. The
So
president,
it's
with
not
this
like
bold
like
idea,
dry
is
snow.
slapping tariffs on European
When it's
nations
dry
right
snow,
now,
I don't
days
hurt as
before
much.
he's about to
But when
see
it's
many
wet
of them when he
snow,
goes
oh my
to
God,
Davos, Switzerland, for the World
my
Economic
fucking
Forum.
neck, my
Before he
back, I
sees
feel
them,
like
he's
I'm
slapping
old.
tariffs on them until what he calls a complete acquisition, a complete and total acquisition of Greenland. Your reaction?
Well, let me take those one at a time.
Damn.
When it comes to communications, you're
I
right.
know that
the
feeling, bro.
Ayatollah is trying to do
Ugh.
everything he can to
Sucks.
silence the Iranian people and to keep them in a news blackout. Is shutting down television, is shutting down internet, has shut down just about all
And we
TV.
depend on
I
our
will
legs,
say it's
right?
fairly amazing. The Ayatollah has been
We need our
playing in
fucking legs to
Persian
move.
Tucker Carlson's
But sometimes they don't
podcast,
want to
which is
fucking move.
just a stunning statement and a powerful
I have problems with my
indictment.
left knee. My left knee has been
I
driving
will
me
say a real game
crazy.
changer on that
The whole
is the
weekend's been driving me
decision that
fucking
Elon Musk
crazy.
made to provide Starlink to Iran and provide it free of charge.
I gotta go tomorrow. I got a lot. I got
because you know what? The
2
Ayatollah can't
doctor's
shut down
appointments tomorrow.
Starlink, and it's
Actually, not
letting the
doctors.
Iranian
The
people
physical therapy and
speak. We're
chiropractor.
getting videos, bootleg videos.
And then
that are
I'm gonna
coming
make an
out via
appointment to see my
Starlink.
primary
That's really important to
to
be
get
able
the
to
MRI
communicate.
scheduled.
It's one of the many ways that America
I
has
need to
to
get an MRI
support those
scheduled.
who are rising up against tyrannies. When it comes to Greenland, I want to commend.
I know
President
this year they're
Trump
gonna operate
for
my
being
knee.
single-minded
I'm just trying to
focused on America
figure
first,
things
on
out
U.S. economic interest and U.S. national security.
and try to get
I
everything
believe
like.
it is overwhelmingly in America's
I have
national
a
interest
feeling they're gonna do it.
to acquire Greenland. A year ago, as chairman
Because
of
it
the
hurts
Senate
too
Commerce
much,
Committee,
and I'm just like
I
really
chaired a hearing
suffering.
on the benefits to the United States of America of acquiring Greenland. Now, some folks in the press, they clutch their pearls and they say, well,
Like I'm
what do
still
you
able
mean
to walk. I
acquiring
feel like
Greenland?
I'm
How
just
could
in
that
my
happen?
last tread on my
The
tire.
whole history of America has
If
been
you
a
don't change the
history of
tire, it's gonna
acquiring new
fucking
lands and new
blow up.
territories. Whether you go back to Thomas Jefferson
And
making
then
the
you're fucked.
Louisiana Purchase, about half of the United States of America today, or you go back to America purchasing Alaska from Russia. You want to talk about, at the time they called it Seward's
Yeah.
Folly. It turned out to be an
Alaska bought
extraordinarily
like the
consequential
United
purchase.
States bought
Greenland
Alaska.
has massive rare earth minerals and critical minerals. There are enormous
Why
economic benefits
we
to
can't
America.
go after
And
Greenland?
it's also, like Alaska, it is located on the Arctic, which is a major theater for potential military conflict with either Russia or China. It's also critical for the Golden Dome and defending America from potential missile strikes. I commend the president for focusing on American national security.
Yeah, because where it is geographically
Okay.
can help stop any missile
That's cool.
fire coming from adversaries like Russia and China.
It's
Senator,
gonna
it's
be
great to
cold.
catch up. We so appreciate your time. We'll be watching your work as
Thanks,
always,
Maria.
sir. Thank you. Senator Ted Cruz.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host.
Campagno. That's Emily. All right, let's bring it to me. Yeah, it's gonna get cold the next few days. Like Tuesday morning, is supposed to be like, I think it's like Tuesday or Wednesday morning, supposed to be like 5 degrees. It's supposed to be like really fucking cold, like Arctic cold. So having to deal with that shit. But man, my body's been aching so much too. My back, my neck, my knee, everything's just been hurting me. It just sucks. But we're living on borrowed time. That's all we got. We got borrowed time. Oh no, what happened to my Pokemon? Like I love my Pokemon series that I've been doing. I'm opening the Pokemon every day I've been opening one. So I got a couple of more of the Phantasma Flames little kit that comes with the card and the coin. And then I got some other different cards of Pokemon that I ran across at Walmart, which was pretty cool. And yeah, I'm probably gonna be opening one of them up. I'm not sure yet. I know for my birthday, I'm gonna be opening like two that I pull to the side that I want to open for my birthday, which is a booster pack. Well, two booster packs I want to open. I just have a real good feeling about them, so I put them to the side, and then I'll probably open a couple of other things just in celebration of my birthday. So I'll probably do some random openings, some random packs, just of different other cards that I have here. I'm actually probably towards the end of the month. I'm gonna go to the card shop, a couple of card shops around here, and see if I could pick up a booster box of Phantasm Flames. I know I could get it online and so forth, but I really don't trust buying stuff like that from Amazon or Walmart or any of these places because it's not really Walmart and Amazon selling it. It's like other crooked people are selling, and I read the reviews, and a lot of people have been just talking a little negative about purchasing, especially through Amazon. So I'm gonna go to a local card shop and make that purchase. So that way, I want to try a master set, Phantasm Flames, and then I'll move on. I also want to probably master set Destin Rivals. I'm thinking about that one too. Destin Rivals and Phantasm Flames. Those are the two that I'm gonna be working on. I know a couple of new stuff is coming out this month. Actually, no, next month is the celebration. It's the 30-year celebration of Pokemon. So I know a lot of things are gonna drop. So I'm kind of like setting up for that because I'm gonna purchase a couple of those things too, and open up on my shorts because the shorts are doing pretty good. I'm getting a lot of attention hours on there, so that's great. Pokemon helps everyone. That's what I say. Pokemon helps everyone. It does. It gets you hooked, and they're cute. They're cute little cards, and they all have their little special powers and within the game. I don't know how to play the game. I do watch someone that plays the game, and I'm trying to learn by how they play and how it works. Um, which is a great YouTuber channel that I discovered, and he plays I think like almost every day, and he plays and he broadcasts this on YouTube. So I watch, and sometimes I fall asleep watching it because he starts early in the morning. So I'll put it on and I'll just listen, and then he tends to puts me to sleep, so I go back to sleep like I did today. But I would like to learn how to play the game, and then maybe play against my niece in the future. That would be nice. But I would like to collect a good, like, have a nice master set for her, for my niece, because this stuff that I'm collecting now, it's not really for me. It's like I said, the excitement of opening a pack and then discovering that you got something really nice. That's really cool. That's the excitement that I like. But once it's like here, it's not really for me. It's more for my niece and for the future, because this is like, we're talking about a good 15, like 14 years from now. 14 years from now, these cards are going to be worth something, and I could pass it along to my niece, and then she could sell it, and she could possibly buy a brand new car if I get really good hits and stuff. And I'm also going to be going to a couple of card shows that are coming. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to a couple of card shows. There's one in Mohegan Sun that's coming up, and there's another one in Stratford, Connecticut. That's going to be towards, I think, like May or so. And I got the dates. I got let me see here. I got a couple of dates here. Let me just look for it. Won't take me long. But I'm definitely going to be going to a couple of these card shows, and seeing if I can find a couple of cool things that I could purchase and support the community, the card community, the collecting community. I was an avid collector when I was young. I used to collect a lot of basketball, football, baseball cards, and I still have those cards from the early 90s. I have all my cards, and down the line I may part ways with it, so that way I can help purchase my niece's brand new car. I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd be like a cool thing from her uncle to help, at least to get her not really brand new, but something like, if new, but something reasonable and economical, like a 4-cylinder. Nothing too flashy, nothing too crazy. You know, I won't mind paying the insurance for the first year, pay it off. But that's gonna be Pokemon. That's gonna be helping out with that in the future. Buy now, sell later, and have really good cards, so that way. And not only the cards, I have comic books that's probably worth thousands, and I'm just sitting on a gold mine, to be honest with you, because my collection is from like the really early 90s, and they're like really cool stuff that I have. But there's like 2 big card shows that are happening here in Connecticut. I know the EC3 is coming out here, which is the East Coast Collectibles Convention, and that's going to be in Mohegan Sun, and that's coming in February 14th and 15th of this year. And it's the largest, it's one of the largest events that happening here in Connecticut. Also, there's the Northeast Sport Card Expo at Chelsea Piers in Connecticut here in Stamford. And that's going to be in May 3rd and May 2nd and May 3rd. And I really can't wait to go to those two. And I know Hartford is going to have a convention too at the convention center. So I have like 3 good opportunities to score some good stuff and to help master set these 2 Pokemons that I'm going after, the Phantasm Flames and Destined Rivals. I think the Destined Rivals is going to be harder to master set, to be honest with you. I think that's going to be one of my harder ones. I know that there's some new ones that's going to be coming out, and I'm gonna keep an eye on those. To be honest, like it's like so much, right? It's like, oh my god, Pokemon could keep you very busy. It's a very busy hobby, but it's something that I enjoyed since I was a kid. I used to love collecting cards, and I had someone that had put me onto it because I saw those cards. Like I remember a friend of my mother's who was a card collector, and he was like showing me his cards. He's like, yeah, in the future, these cards will be worth a lot of money. So it's good to hold on to them. And then I was always like knew from then that it's like, yeah, one day, in the future, these will probably be worth something. And sure enough, I have a lot of things that I have from back in those days that's probably worth something, especially the comic books. Comic books like really don't lose value, they gain value, and the older the better, depending the quality and how it's well taken care of, how it was packaged, and it's just and people will buy it. If I was to open up a little eBay store and sell off my stuff, I'll probably do pretty good. But would I want to go through all that hassle of opening a little store and sending to a whole bunch of people from all around the world? No, I don't know. I'm not here to try to fucking open a business right now. I feel like shit. But I got a good collection. Oh, here. I was rambling here. Sorry about that. It's the Sunday Ramble with Rick. I gotta check Walgreens tomorrow. Tomorrow is truck day. Oh, thank you, Terry. I truly appreciate that, man. Because, like I said, it's not really for me. It's for my niece. Like, I'll be honest with you. I know my time is not now. Her time is now. I had my time. I'm living my time, but her time is now. She's 4 years old, and she has a whole future ahead of her. And I want to make sure as long as I live that I could continue to pick up good stuff that has value. And that way in the future, when she is 18 and has already graduated from high school, that I could present her vehicle at her graduation. That's like the coolest, I think, gift I could possibly give her. Something that wasn't even given to me. I was like, even my sister didn't get anything like that. And not a lot of kids in my school. A couple of kids did. A couple of the parents that did get it for their kids, and like they were the lucky ones, right? My parents weren't that fortunate with gift giving, that type of stuff, but I make sure for my niece that way she's like, she has a vehicle when she goes to college, that she doesn't need to worry, because her vehicle will be very low mileage, brand new, close to brand new, and at least the first year, the insurance will be paid off. She wouldn't have to worry about insurance. She would have to work, yes, and she would have to save her money, because eventually she's going to learn how to pay her bills. And I want to give her a good head start, so that way she's not put in a predicament of like kind of like drowning, when you're trying to find your way and it's just so fucking hard and nobody's there to help you. Well, I want to be the one there to make sure she's helped and she doesn't struggle, and she finds her way and she gets a good job and she gets paid really well, and she could save that whole year, and then she can do what she needs to do to get her life going. 2042, I have to go to California. 2042. Why you got to go 2042? Why 2042? That's so. Hey, what's up, Bobby? How you doing, brother? Hope you having a good night. Surprise night that I came on here for a bit. 2042 is the year they dug up the Nickelodeon time capsule. Oh yeah, it was in Florida, but they moved it to California. Yeah, because they closed it down. They closed Nickelodeon in Florida. They closed it down. I remember going to Universal Studios and seeing Nickelodeon, like, once going into the entrance, and it was off to the left-hand side, and they had their studios back there where they did all the shows and everything. I've seen it back in those days when they had it, but then they closed it down, and just Universal just took over everything. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and continue here on with they closed in 2005. Yeah, it makes sense. Probably around the last time I probably saw it, it was around that time. But I remember seeing it back in the 90s, early 90s, Nickelodeon like studios. We were almost close in getting into a show. I wanted to do the show, but my mom didn't want to, so we didn't get to do it, because I wanted to do Double Dare. I wanted to do Double Dare, and the what's it, the Hidden Temple or some shit. It was some game. It was like really fucking athletic games. I was like, oh, I know I could win. I was like, I knew I could win, but I really wanted to do like Double Dare, I really wanted to do that, but my mom was like, "No." So I was like, oh, "Man," I was like, "You're taking away my fire." Anyhow, let's go ahead and see what else we got here. All right, let's watch this story and then we'll talk more because we do got some to watch.
Robbers made away with over $100,000 worth of Pokemon cards at a collector's hangout store in Manhattan Wednesday night. Customers and workers had guns pointed at them during the robbery.
Yes, Legends of the Hidden Temple. Yes.
In a terrifying experience, customers at a Pokemon card store had guns pointed at them during the robbery.
That's crazy.
It took at Poke Court on West 13th Street, Manhattan, New York.
So they came in, they closed the curtains.
came
One
in,
guy pulled out a gun and literally
they
just
pulled out
started
a
like
gun. Look at
pointing
this, and they pointed at the
faces.
people.
He took someone's phone right there.
3 men wearing black masks and hoodies walked into the store with around 40 people in the store attending their very first free community arts and crafting event. The smash and grab robbers were in and out in less than 3 minutes. Why would people rob a Pokemon store?
Yeah.
So the robbers took over $100,000 worth of merchandise.
Is it better than this
there are
news?
some
This is sad news.
vintage boxes that are 30 years old. There were some vintage packs. There were some graded cards that were worth $30,000, anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000.
Then we'll be able to get that
high-end
graded
display case.
without first being
The
vetted.
hobby has become very popular in the last 5 years,
Especially
and
the
as
vintage
such,
stuff,
the market
because not
prices
a lot
of
of
these
people
things have
grade
also,
vintage.
gone up with the popularity.
The owner, Courtney Chen, is still tabulating
Especially
the lost
if you're
amounts,
like
but she says it's in
young,
from
dumb.
$120,000 to $150,000 in lost.
3 armed men enter the premises. They were brandishing firearms. They were shoving, guns in the face of my employees and my customers. And then they proceeded to come straight to, we call it center court, because it's where we keep all of our high-end items. They took
Sounds
a
like a
hammer
police
and
officer.
they smashed
You might as well be a
all the
police
glass.
officer.
So these used to be glass doors, locked glass doors. They smashed all the glass. They took vintage booster boxes that are 30 years
Oh
old.
my
They took
God.
vintage booster packs that are around the same age. They took graded cards that were worth anywhere between $5,000
Oh
to
no!
$30,000.
See, I would have
each.
shot him.
They took.
If I had a gun,
high-end
I would have shot him.
And they took memorabilia that that has
That's
sentimental value to
bullshit.
the shop. So they just took everything. They literally just looked at the price tags and grabbed what they thought was most expensive. They were wearing anime backpacks, so they put all the merchandise in the backpack. Then they went over to the register here.
Yeah, my doctor told me
First, a guy with a hammer
the one
came
that
and
was
tried to smash these card
couple of
walls, but
pounds,
thankfully
too.
they held up.
Well, that's so hard to do in the
And then
winter.
they
You
came
know
over
that.
here and stole a bunch of cash.
But that's great.
They pointed a gun in the face of one of my employees, had him open up the cash register, and took the cash.
The store had to open late to finish cleaning up and had to turn away an early morning young customer with parents and tell them to come back later. Pokemon card robberies have been happening across the country,
That's
often
sad.
with losses in the hundreds of thousands of dollars range.
See, this is a store
In a
that I
hobby
would
that
have
seems
visited.
relatively
You
safe,
know,
an
but
event
since
like
it's New
this
York,
is the last thing
I
card
avoid
collectors
it.
would expect to have to worry about.
I don't want to go to New
Sean
York
Marshall,
City.
NTD News.
I wouldn't want to help that Salami. What's his name? Not Salami. Pretty close. Damn, I don't even want to remember his name. I see his face, but I don't want to remember his name. Let's keep it moving. Mundani.
January the 18th, 2026. Guys, we're finally getting the satellite information in on this X flare that's headed our way. What you're looking at in this model is the sun is in the center and the Earth is the yellow dot.
No, not that
This is Mars.
boring.
All the color
Mundani.
codings up here at the top, different satellites. I'm going to pause it right
He's
here.
gonna
This
struggle.
is, I'm pausing it at on the 20th.
All the people already leaving.
0 hours. That's UTC.
We're gonna
time.
hit. We're gonna get
And
hit
what
by
that
some
translates
from
to back
solar
to
flare.
us is that we're going to be seeing the impact around 7 p.m. in New York. What does that mean? We're not going to be directly Earth facing that impact as far as the East Coast. Now it's going to be just getting sunset on the West Coast where we got a lot of fault zones, so we got to watch that. But UTC time is all, I've got everything set in here again, 7 p.m. tomorrow night, East Coast. That would be 6 p.m. here Central Time. You can do the math. Now let's look at the involvement and how long that's going to occur. Remember, I talked about 122 minutes of blackout time during that flare. And from looking at it, guys, it did not make it all the way back down until something else hit. Another flares in the process.
Wow.
Now, we're fully involved in the yellow dot again by 0600 hours, 6 hours later. So that's going to be 1 a.m. in the morning, New York, 6 a.m. in the morning, London. Now, which means that once, depending on the impact time, and because this is estimated, you've got a muzzle velocity, basically, when it leaves the sun in over 93 million miles, it's going to slow down. So what they do is put in a plus or minus 7 hour window for arrival time. But it's been pretty accurate lately. Anyway, you can see we're getting that left side of the flare.
215 is a good.
As we looked at the video, or the two videos earlier, but the last one showed the information from the GOS satellite to where most of the flare came off this side of the sun. But look where the strongest part, right in here. See that deep red? We'll watch it again. Look where that comes through, right where we're at, and that's because we're Earth facing. And I was saying that in the video earlier this afternoon, that a good bit of that blast was to the left, but we were in that Earth-facing component. If you look right here, you see this white area in the curve before it gets to Earth. That is the strongest area of the flare. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to point that out. So, other than the West Coast catching this as far as an impact,
maybe a big
earthquake be late in the day. New York is already going to be dark.
It's going to be a very
dark
active
here
week
Central
next week.
Time, where we're at. But the problem with not being directly impacted as far as the sunlit side of the planet is tectonic plates are very large, just like the ring of fire around the Pacific. Very large area. One side can get hit and it can affect everything. But it's better to be on the nighttime side of the flare, especially one like this. And that's what we're going to see. Again, West Coast, you guys over there, as the sun's starting to set, you think, what is it, 7 p.m. on the East Coast? What are you guys going to be at, around 4 or 5 on the West Coast? You're still going to be...
The particles were still going to affect us.
Earth-facing or sun-facing situations there. Now, Hawaii, Japan, that's where it's going to start to get a little more dicier, okay? Because this is a long event. But we cannot forget that even
earthquakes.
When we talk about hitting in the Pacific Ocean, look at what we've seen just recently on the West Coast off of California there. A lot of activity going on.
Yeah,
a lot of volcanoes going
cool.
off. Some of the volcanoes are acting very unusual, by the way. And I think it's got to do with the heat of the planet.
To attend my uncle's graduation.
The tilting of the Earth, a lot of different things. Again,
Florida.
This is the best case scenario
it was
for
snowing.
the U.S. that we could hope for.
We got a few inches.
Because we don't want a direct impact. I mentioned in the video earlier.
And my first time seeing snow ever.
When that quake
it was in Florida.
It was around 2:45, 3.
That was pretty cool. So it does snow in the upper panhandle.
And I watched 3
it's really cool weather.
Leave the sun
head
there
south
a day or so before.
It tends to do snow, and
that's what caused it.
It's pretty cool.
And again, now that it's common knowledge, it wasn't then. So let's watch this. It's important, and not only for the fact that you can deal with earthquakes, but the way it affects us. And so nighttime is the best time for the U.S. as far as those effects. But as the sun rises tomorrow, being such a long flare, there's still going to be elevated solar wind speed, things like that. We'll watch it, guys. You watch it. All the links that we're looking at are on our website at bpearthwatch.com.
Okay, let's keep it moving because we got more to watch.
New clashes on the streets of Minneapolis this weekend as Governor Tim Walz mobilizes the state's National Guard, and the Pentagon readies 1,500 soldiers to be deployed to that state. This as the DOJ has launched an investigation into Governor Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry for allegedly impeding ICE agents' ability to carry out their duties. For more on the situation on the ground, let's bring in Minnesota State Senator Steve Drazkowski and his constituent Dirk Cedergren. Thank you both for joining the Sunday briefing this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this morning, the Pentagon, as we mentioned, readying up to 1,500 troops to deploy if the president invokes the Insurrection Act. You've got clashes between protesters and federal law enforcement officers continuing here after a federal judge has limited what federal agents can do to control these protesters. Here's what Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said this morning on Fox News Sunday.
They're throwing rocks at ICE officers. They are standing in the roadway when they try to drive by. They're putting their vehicles in the roadway while they try to drive by. So if a judge tells ICE officers not to violate the constitutional rights of protesters, we got it. Instead of going after ICE officers, what should be happening is local leaders should be sending law enforcement out to stop the protesters.
Yeah, that should be coming.
ICE officers for doing nothing except
They
for
need
their
to.
job.
So that way,
I'll ask you,
we'll calm the
should
people
President
down
Trump invoke
and put
the
them back in
Insurrection Act?
reality.
You
They've
know,
been
I'll
living in
leave
an
that,
illusion for
Jackie,
too
up
long.
to the president and his ability to exercise prudence. These people have taken over the Democrat Party here. They're pervasive throughout the Walz administration, and they're populating and directing the Democrat majority in our legislature. They have no respect for the rule of law or the people tasked with upholding it. I think the important thing is that the president continue on his path and do the best that he can to make sure that the people finish their job. And I'm sure he will exercise prudence as he has done repeatedly.
Yeah, you've got the Department of Justice now investigating Minnesota officials, including Governor Walz and also Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, for allegedly impeding law enforcement's ability to do their jobs. Walz told people to collect evidence against ICE in a special address this week. And a tipster reported this email to city employees Friday, alleging, this tipster says, they are working with
They got a
protesters
lot of
within the
people
city
to
to
arrest
help
over
them
there.
track down ICE operations.
Like-
This seems
like
like
the
they're
district
complicit in helping
attorney,
impede ICE
like,
agents.
there's
Would
like
they like it
the
if we
whole
impeded and
fucking
told people where
system is
Minneapolis
corrupt
police
down over
officers were
there.
trying to do their work? This seems
Like, the whole
it
government
an
is corrupt.
insurrection. That's what the tipster said. Dirk, what is your sense on the ground? You know, you're a resident business owner there. Do you see a coordinated effort among Minnesota officials to try to impede ICE from doing their jobs?
Well, Governor Walz on the 14th did an address on TV, and it was a very inflammatory statement. All the things he used about pregnant women being dragged through the streets, and ICE is untrained or poorly trained. I know people that in the Rochester school system, about 75 miles south, are being told to impede ICE and to hide vulnerable students from ICE. I have another person I know who works in the Minneapolis school system who had a meeting, and they were told to, if ICE showed up, they were to lock the doors and not let them in, impeding federal agents.
This is coming from school officials to school employees, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Mayor Fry said that this probe about, allegations of impeding ICE is meant to intimidate him. Governor Walz made the case that the DOJ is being weaponized by the Trump administration. He said, quote, 2 days ago, it was Alyssa Slotkin. Last week, it was Jerome Powell. Before that, Mark Kelly. Weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. The only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. Senator, I'll ask you, do you think that calmer heads would prevail if the FBI allowed state investigators access to this investigation or made it public?
No, I don't, Jackie. They have an agenda. Tim Walz is losing oil pressure rapidly. A large and growing number of Minnesotans would really like to see him in jail. And we will see articles of impeachment introduced in the Minnesota House when the legislature convenes on the 17th of next month. He is complicit in the theft of over $9 billion by many of the same people that have been attacking federal officers for the past 2 weeks. He will condition any sort of investigation that the state does in order to continue to try to fit the far left narrative, which is a small fraction of a minority of Minnesotans. Most of Minnesota, Jackie, is operating normal. the vast majority of it is Tim Walz and Jacob Fry are continuing to put this forward and get it going to the point that their media operatives in Minnesota who help them support their narrative will keep that narrative going.
Dirk, I'll finish with you. You know, we heard the governor's call to residents of that state saying to, you know, collect evidence against ICE. What are you telling your fellow citizens to do?
Listen, when a law enforcement officer, whether he's federal, state, local, asks you to do something, follow the command. It's real easy. If they ask for identification, give them identification. If they ask you to leave, leave. I know I've had staff members come up to me and say, what do I do? And I'll just said, follow the rules. It's real easy. You won't get arrested.
And Senator, any last word with just about 15 seconds left?
As I mentioned, Minnesota would like to see the law enforced. This is our opportunity. The reluctance, or actually resistance, the word that Governor Walz used, the resistance that the Democrats have been placing in front of the rule of law needs to end, and Minnesotans are yearning for these criminals to be removed from our presence and put away.
It was great talking to you both, Minnesota State Senator Steve Drazkowski and resident Dirk Cedergren. It was great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining the Sunday Briefing.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone.
All right, let's keep it moving.
It's been another weekend of clashes in Minneapolis. Now the Trump administration is placing more than 1,000 active duty soldiers on standby. It comes as a new CBS News poll shows many Americans think ICE agents are being too tough when stopping and detaining people. CBS News Miami's Ian Lee is in Minneapolis as soldiers prepare for a possible deployment inside the city.
As protests in the streets of Minneapolis pit pro-ICE demonstrators against anti-ICE demonstrators, a U.S. defense official tells CBS News 1,500 active duty soldiers are on standby in Alaska for possible deployment to Minneapolis.
Wow.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz also has the state's National Guard on standby to support, quote, the rights of all who assemble peacefully. On Sunday's Face the Nation, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry expressed concern over the presence of ICE agents.
We are doing everything possible to
That's their job.
Withstanding this.
You're blocking them from doing their job.
Literally invaded our city. I mean, we've got 600 cops in the city.
They can have 600,000 cops.
3,000 plus.
It doesn't matter.
And border
They're
control.
there to do their job.
They're not making our city safer.
They're there to take those people out.
Since the death of Renee Good,
These people are
who
so
was shot and
stupid,
killed
man.
by an
Democrats
ICE
are
agent
dumb.
on January 7th. On Sunday's Face the Nation, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defended the actions of ICE in Minneapolis and blamed instances of violence on Mayor Fry and Governor Walz.
Because the mayor and the governor have allowed this kind of violence to be perpetuated across Minneapolis is why there's other innocent people that are impacted throughout the city, but throughout their state as well.
All of this comes as a new CBS poll indicates the public is growing increasingly concerned about ICE's recent actions in U.S. cities. The poll finds 61% of those surveyed say ICE is being too tough when stopping and detaining people, up from 56% in November. Ian Lee, CBS News, Minneapolis.
All right, let's keep it moving. We got the Hurricanes playing tomorrow against University of Indiana. I'm pulling for the Canes because I'm from Miami. So let's go Canes. Let's see what's up.
We are just over 24 hours away from kickoff at the national championship game at Hard Rock Stadium.
Win.
And that is where we find Samantha
For me.
Rivera. Both teams, Sam, we are sure are ready to hit the field. And all of us are just ready to watch this game at this point.
Yeah, Chelsea, everybody is more than ready at this point. And behind us, we could hear Pitbull getting ready for the show tomorrow. Everybody just getting hyped up for tomorrow's
Oh, they're
national
going to have the
championship
halftime
game.
show.
And earlier
with
today,
Pitbull.
as you mentioned, we heard from both head coaches in the final time with them speaking to the media. It's funny, Kurt Cignetti, not exactly known to smile much, but managed to let one out today. Mario Cristobaldo, serious as ever. Both sides have a mixture of excitement and jitters from their players, but more than anything, with a level of confidence to prove to nobody but themselves that they are who they thought they were.
I don't think
the external stuff has ever been a motivator for our team. I think it's always been internal. I think our guys always want to prove themselves right. And I think the confidence and the trust in each other was something that just continued to build momentum throughout the course of the season.
I think this team has some special qualities in their ability to go on the road and win close games. Quarterback playing his best with the game on the line when everything appeared to be down and out. But, you know, there's one more chapter to write, and we're going to find out in about 36 hours.
And after that, held one last pep rally for the Miami Beach Convention today. The school band, cheerleaders, and dance team hyping up the crowd as they prepare for Monday night. Fans telling me it doesn't really matter if you went to Miami or not. This game is bigger than that. It's about the community.
Once in a lifetime, we're super psyched. And we know the Canes are going to come through.
You know, it's all love, man. It's all love. So this means a lot for us, and we're just going to finish it strong. We're the smallest school, but have the largest fan. And you always get that joke. You didn't even go to the U. Yeah, because we're different. We're community.
And one final note here, the Patriots take down the Texans, which means they are headed to the AFC Championship game to face a Bo Nixless Broncos squad. For now, live here at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, that's going to be
back to you.
Oh, I'm so happy
Patriots
for
should
the
be able to
Pats
win
coming
that
from Rhode
next-
Island. So that's
next
a
week
great
game.
story over there. And Samantha, thank you. Looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching that game tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to it too. Let's keep it moving.
A lot of information there. All right, well, viral videos on social media show just how easy it is to get past the new subway gates that are being tested under an MTA pilot program. Now, many of these videos, they're being made by one single group. Its leader says he makes these videos to expose just how much money the MTA is wasting. Lisa Evers spoke to him in a Fox 5 exclusive.
Our Fox 5 camera captured the scene here at the Broadway Lafayette subway station in Soho when a member of the performance collective known as Bonnet Boy tossed his hat over a sensor, tricking it into opening the exit doors. When the gate swung open, they all sauntered in. I caught up with the group's leader, who goes by the handle Official King Spider, for an exclusive interview.
I'm a New Yorker. I'm originally from New York, so I know what's going on in the subway systems. We need to focus more on like safety and the service of the subway system. A lot of people are getting hurt. There's a lot of homeless people in the subway system as well.
Official King Spider tells me he feels the MTA is wasting millions of dollars on the new fare gates. And that's the point he's trying to make with the
Look at
videos.
this.
But in fact, the MTA tells me these new gates being tested were free. And here's what else spokesperson Eugene Resnick told us. Quote, this is a free pilot program with technology from leading companies in the world. And so far, most riders seem to like it. The opinions of minor league trolls.
Unless they're going to do social credit, that's not going to work.
Attention
Unless they got cameras that takes your face recognition and they dox you and pretty much put you in a bad social credit.
Getting hurt or injured or anything like that. And hey, it's New
And
York.
then they
A lot of
shame
people
you
hop the turnstile. It should be
with
free.
your picture all over the
Look for
place.
too long to see people jumping the turnstile, but last year's surge of NYPD officers in the subway has meant more chances for fare evaders to get a summons, or if they have outstanding warrants, handcuffs and jail.
As long as I'm not hurting anybody, you know, I'm not trying to
Look at that.
embarrass anybody or anything like that, but we are all a part of New York. So we have to make it make sense.
King Spider says he's never been arrested and that he and his members have not gotten summonses. He says they're just trying to draw attention to the MTA to get better service for the riders. At the Broadway Lafayette station in Soho, I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News.
Those things don't work right.
All right, well, listen
Those
to
things
this.
are
A new
just a waste of
45
money.
years of Pac-Man exhibit just opened up at the Paley Museum. It celebrates the origins and the legacy of one
Pac-Man.
of the most iconic characters in video
45
game
years of
history.
Pac-Man.
The Paley Museum is located on West 52nd Street, and it's free for Paley members. The exhibit runs through May 31st. A Long Island teen is making it her mission to make sure that local women look sharp during their job interviews. She's created what she's calling a career closet. It offers free professional clothing to potential job applicants. Fox 5's Jody Goldberg has this story.
This is Alexandra DiDonato then, just starting out on her Girl Scout journey. And this is Alexandra now, a straight-A student, varsity volleyball player, still proudly wearing that same sash, just with a few more badges and a whole lot more impact.
This is the Gold War project. It's a sustainable project in your community, and you have to work over 85 hours on it.
Started a career closet here at Smithtown Hust. It's a one-stop shop set up near the business wing where classmates can borrow professional clothes for interviews or school events for free. She came up with the idea after volunteering for Dress for Success, a nonprofit that helps unemployed women find professional clothes as they re-enter the workforce.
I planned and
I think
organized
it's
the
pretty
clothing
cool.
drive, and then we
Oh, here, let me
donated
go
that
to the
clothing
chat.
to Dress for Success out of Brookhaven, and also put some of the clothing here in the closet.
So far, the closet's stocked with blazers, but it's a step in the right direction.
You're showing that you care about the job that you're going for. First impressions are everything.
And by the time Alexandra graduates, she wants the closet filled with everything students need, from pants to purses and accessories, to keep the closet going strong.
They could come here whenever they feel like it if they need something important to wear for any event.
We do have some students that
Yeah, she said, "Drive, baby, drive, drive."
Get a wardrobe like this. This is an opportunity for
Final
them
words.
to feel included.
Her wife.
Alexandra says the real reward
Her
is
from her
watching someone
butch
walk out feeling stronger
husband.
than when they walked in.
I love helping people
Making the
because
wrong
it makes
decision
me feel
and hitting an ICE
excited
officer
when
and
they
being
feel
shot in the
relief
head, and
of
now you're dead.
getting their confidence back.
Proving that a little service can make a big difference. In Smithtown, Long Island, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
What a great idea. All right, don't go away. We're going to be right back. But first, here's the 7-day forecast.
I love ice. We put a bumper sticker. That was pretty cool. Let's keep it moving.
Closer look at the ammunition used in the ambush of a Greenville police officer on Sunday morning. Authorities say the suspect fired at the officer while he was sitting in his patrol vehicle. 7 News' Lauren Miller spoke with a gun shop to learn
Instant chaos.
What is that?
This is video of the parking lot at the Greenville County Law Enforcement Center off of McGee Street. Agents with the State Law Enforcement Division say 42-year-old David Lane ambushed the officer, firing at him. But the type of ammunition that was used is what we asked gun shop owner Stevens about. Sled says Lane used
white phosphorus that ignites.
similar to a firework. It's also
I mean, I remember hearing about it as a young man.
it gets really hot. Take a look at these photos of the patrol car. Part of the door and mirror are charred.
I would say somewhere in the 1,500 degrees.
Stevens says that's because the ammo sprays out when it's fired.
What it looked like was that the majority of the burn was almost like contact, just a few inches from where the shotgun was, and that would have been the blast of the dragon's breath. And then obviously the buckshot that is inside of it, the metal balls inside of
Shoots
it,
out.
would have been the dangerous part about the shotgun.
But why would anyone have or use it?
It's a novelty. It's not a practical application for anything. You don't hunt with it. Nobody would use it in a home defense situation, obviously, light their house on fire.
Because it's mainly used for show.
Show up in a movie or in a television show, it'll crop up somehow on social media.
Stevens says someone would typically buy it online or at gun shows.
Well,
and every so often, people
the
do
Rams
call about
beat
it,
the
but he's
Bears
never sold it
in
and says he
overtime.
never will.
I don't want to be involved in it.
Rams
You know,
makes
there's
it
certain
to
products
the
that we don't
NFC
sell
Championship
because we
game
don't want that crowd.
against the
Aside
Seattle
continues
Seahawks.
to investigate this
That would be
incident.
next
The Greenville
weekend.
County Sheriff's Office plans to release more
AFC is gonna
details during a
be
critical
the
incident
Patriots
community briefing. That's on
versus
February 25th. Reporting in
Broncos.
Spartanburg County, Lauren Miller, 7 News.
And we have reached out to the Sheriff's Office, the Greenville Police Department, and SLED. None of the agencies have been available for comment.
Yeah. Super Bowl is going to be a weird Super Bowl because it's all Democratic like teams. You know, all the teams that are playing right now, they're from Democratic states and Democratic teams. You know, the Bears just lost to the Rams 20-17. Rams are now headed to the NFC Championship game to another Democratic city, Seattle. where you got the first place Seattle Seahawks versus the 5th place Rams. And the winner of that game will go to Santa Clara, California for the Super Bowl. So, and your halftime show, he's Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican, but I really don't care for the Bad Bunnies. But he will be performing for the halftime Super Bowl show, and I'll listen to it. I'll watch it. I mean, I do understand Spanish and so forth, but I would like to see the subliminal messaging that is posterized during these type of events. That's what I look forward to more. I look at for the Illuminati stuff and all the, they like to represent themselves during these big events. So I'm not really paying attention too much to the artists, but the layout and what they use and what their stage looks like and what subliminal messages they pass during that event. So would be interesting. It will be interesting. But yeah, let's what is this about? It's 4 minutes long. Oh Lord, and it's a warning. Distressing content. All right, here we go. We're gonna watch some. This it has a warning. So I know he did. He's stupid. He's from the other side of the island. From where I'm from, we don't disrespect that way, and we don't disrespect America. That's what I know. But he's been bought. He's who he's sleeping with, right? He's sleeping with the Kardashians. He's with I forgot which Kardashian he's with, but he's been sucked into that world, to that vampiric side of Hollywood, that the dark side. And this is their puppet of the year. So they already have a hand up his ass, and they're having him do the ritual. And that's all it is. But now Puerto Rico is like this bunny guy. I smelled him from afar, and I knew something was up with him. And I don't trust him. Like, not all Puerto Ricans are the same. Like, not all Americans are the same. Not everyone in this world are the same. Everyone has like their differences, and your goal is to find people that you can relate to. And he's one that I don't. And he's a big disappointment, but he sold himself. When you sell your soul to the devil, and then you pretty much turned your back on Jesus, and he knows he has, but then he wants to play that he loves Jesus. Oh, he's just full of shit. And let's keep it moving. Got a few more to watch.
This is the rarest and most valuable Pokemon card in the world.
I was going to show the everything, but I decided to go to the Pokemon
market by upwards of
I don't think we're ready for the disturbing.
Go to your local card shop. Go on eBay. Buy a card that you think looks cool, or that you have a connection with. Don't be afraid to take a risk, especially if you're young.
That was Logan Paul with us just a few weeks ago, showing us his ultra rare, Jackie, I think they say Pokemon card. I would say Pokemon, but we'll get in that another day. And the collectibles market is exploding. No one knows that more than Ken Golden. He's one of the biggest names in memorabilia and the host of Netflix's King of Collectibles, The Golden Touch, which has a new season out right now. Ken is here with us. I am so excited. I'm wearing white gloves because I'm going to get in on some of this a little bit later. But you've got that Pokemon Pikachu card in the bedazzled case.
But he's getting better,
Talk
though.
about the valuation of that thing.
Sure. So when Logan was here, a couple weeks ago, the auction had not started yet. So it started 8 days ago, and it currently, as of late last night, got a lot of bids. It's currently a $4.8 million bid, which, including buyer's premium, puts this at $5.95 million. making it the single most valuable Pokemon and TCG card in history already, with 33 days to go left in bidding. So
I bet
you
you if you
could be
open that
seeing,
slab and you
a 10 to
resubmit it,
$15
you
million
probably get
card here.
like a 3 or
Can I
4
ask-
in grading.
Sure.
We talk about inflation, the value of
That card's so
collectibles as a
scratched
store of
up in the
value.
back.
That looks like a lot of diamonds, a lot of gold on there.
Yes.
The price of gold's at a record. How does all of that, if it does, impact the value of this stuff?
Sure.
It's
Well, this
nothing.
obviously, this was Logan Paul's, and it is until the auction closes. So he put a special case so he can wear it. But reality, he paid about $78,000 for the case, and the necklace, maybe it's worth $150 now. But the card is what they're buying, and really, inflation helps, trading cards. Inflation helps collectibles. People view it as a hedge, but what's really happened is over the past 10 years, people have gotten into collectibles as an alternative asset. And when the grading companies started grading cards and calling, okay, this is a 10,
Right.
it allows people to buy and sell it like they would a stock or gold or a barrel of oil. And that's
Like me, I have a lot
what's
of
gotten
trading
investors
cards,
into
man.
it and raised the prices.
But as is a risk with commodities, prices
Mhm.
go up and prices come
Yeah.
down. I'm just wondering, because we've seen fads before
Mhm.
historically.
It's like
where
a
all
penny
of sudden,
market.
Somebody wants
Beanie
XYZ
Babies.
beanie baby or whatever it is today, but they're not willing to pay as much for 10
Mhm.
years. If you're investing in this way, that kind of money that we're talking about, how can you make sure that it's going to hold its value?
Well, the key is you got to go after blue chip stuff. You have to go after, you can't go after fads. Like for example, you can look at Pokemon and you can see it's its 30th anniversary this year. It is the biggest franchise in history. I believe it's $250 billion, more than Disney, more than Marvel, more than any Star Wars, any of the other big franchises out there. It is the most popular, and over a 10-year period, 20-year period, it is dramatically outpaced the stock market. The other thing about it, it is worldwide. When we get to the end, I'm going to show you a big collectible.
Yes.
The only thing you've ever seen that has never gone down in value for 120 years, every sale.
Okay, I like that.
You mentioned fads,
Mhm.
but people outside of collectibles or outside of certain niches,
Mhm.
Magic the Gathering,
Mhm.
those cards
Yep.
are hugely collectible and
Yes.
valuable. I met a bartender
Yep.
who put himself through college
Mhm.
and graduate school by selling a few of his MTG cards.
Magic the Gathering is incredibly popular, and that's why in this auction we have right now, it's not just Pokemon, it's Magic the Gathering, and it's other TCG cards, because it is really a big space. And really in the US, we're very sports centric. We buy our basketball cards, our football cards, our baseball cards, but around the world, the TCG is much larger than sports cards is in the USA.
Daniel, ask him about that baseball he's got.
Well, actually, both the baseball and the card.
No, save that one for me.
Okay, I'll hold that one.
Save that one for
Okay. You got a baseball there.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so this is, whoa.
Put the gloves on.
Yeah. So this is the actual home run ball that Shohei Ohtani hit for his third home run in his 3 home run, 10 strikeout game, October 17th, 2025, to put the Dodgers in the World Series. The importance about this is the single greatest athletic performance in the history of team sports. And last year, we sold his 50-50 ball for $4.4 million. This ball is up for bids right now at golden.com, and it actually closes tomorrow night at 10 p.m.
No kidding.
What do you think it's going to go for?
That's amazing.
Right now, I think it's at 200. I hope it gets over $500,000. I expected about $1 million. I think most of the bidders come in late for items.
I was
like
going to
this.
ask you, are they waiting and
Yeah.
for the clock to come down, and then all of a sudden a bunch of people who are really serious jump in?
Yeah, the auction runs and people place their bids, but if you're really serious, you're going to wait to extended bidding or the last few minutes of an auction. Yeah.
All right, I got to ask you about the last piece you brought. This is, I would argue, it's the most storied baseball card in the history of baseball cards. You can see them at the Baseball Hall of Fame. We don't even know how many there are. There are very few, but it's the 1909 Honus Wagner T206. And if
Yes.
you have this card, you have the definitive holy grail of baseball cards, and you've got one there. And I'm really hoping with these white gloves,
I'm going to let you.
I can hold it.
I'll let you take a picture
All
with
right.
it too. So this, real briefly, this is the famous T206 Honus Wagner. This card, this particular example, people did not know existed. I was lucky enough to get a call. During that 2-month period, I was actually filming for Netflix King Collectible Season 3, and somebody claimed they had one, and it was not graded. I said, no, you don't, it's fake. And they sent me a picture. I'm like, oh my God, we have to change our production for the week. We're going to California. We're going to get this card. This card auctions off at Golden starting in about 8 days. We expect it to go for around $5 million. And I'll let you hold it, and I'll tell you the.
I'm coming over right now.
Here we go.
I'm coming over. I'm not
Here's
even
the great
supposed
thing
to
about
do
this.
this.
$5 million.
This card has been known since 1909. If you track every single solitary sale of that card, there has never been a buyer who has bought the card, and then when they went to resell it, it's sold for less money. It's the only type of asset I can find where not a single owner has ever not made money on the sale of the card, because it's just so historic, so rare, and
It
so
keeps
desirable.
making money.
Keep your armed guard close so
Yes.
Brian doesn't run away.
I'm a pretty
with
honest
that
guy, but
baby.
I've got a half a thought of running out of here with this card. There's no card in the world with more misinformation around it and really interesting stories about why it's so valuable. Honus Wagner is still one of the greatest ball players to ever play the game.
Hey,
Even
$5
though he
million?
retired, I think, in
You ain't gonna touch my $5 million card. Get the
pretty
fuck out of
amazing
here.
stuff.
Great
That's
baseball.
what I did,
Ken
Ben.
Golden, that was awesome.
Hey, Chloe.
Display that in their home. If they bought it, would they just put it on the mantle?
A lot of people will. Some people put it in secure vaults. You know,
Yeah, I know.
vaults,
They have
or their own
that-
vaults
that-
in the bank. Some
bullshit
people
that they have.
like, you know, some people
They're
will
pricey.
display it. You know, like Logan obviously wore this a couple times around his neck. You know, the memorabilia is easier to display, but typically cards, you know, they take them
Yeah, I
out
never
when
got
they wanna
into the
look at them, when they
Magic
wanna show them off,
gathering.
but
I never
otherwise
got
they
into
lock
it.
them away. Memorabilia, people often
A lot of people are going
display them,
after
like
the One
literally.
Piece.
I could see somebody in
The
LA
One Piece,
having
people are,
this
like,
on their desk
eating that-
when people
that
come
One
in to
Piece
brag
up.
about I own Shohei
I
Ohtani's third
think
home
it's
run
what it
ball.
has its
It's a good
value, but
conversation piece, put it that way. Ken Golden, I am so glad you came to be with us today. This was the most fun I've had in a very long time. Thank you for letting me hold that Honus Wagner
Absolutely.
card.
he's crazy. I would not have let you hold my card. Man, get out of here with your bullshit. Hold my card. A $5 million card, are you going to be putting your muggy little hands on it? Get out of here. Shit. It's worth money. it loses value if you hold it. Now you fucking cost me a couple of, like, probably $1 million because you held that card. Anyhow. Yeah, collectibles are pretty good. If you get a good one, if you have a nice card and stuff, you get it graded. Comic books are pretty good to get graded, and they do raise up in value. And, you know, you go from a book that costs a certain amount, and then it can end up costing, like, you can sell it for like $300-$400, $500, $600, maybe $1,000, depending on what book and who signs it and what type of one of a kind, like, history does it have, because the history, and if it's documented history, has value. If you have a book that's well documented and has pictures to prove, it makes it one of a kind. And a lot of, like, collectors like that type of memorabilia, like the memorabilia like that. So maybe I'll auction off my one of a kind and be a millionaire. Watch, be a multimillionaire. Like, oh my god, my book sold for like $7 million. Ah, you know, it can happen to you. It can happen to me. Why not? Shit, that would be so nice. That'd be a super surprise. I'd be like, that shit's been sitting in my fucking closet for years. Like sitting on a gold mine. Like, oh well. All right, guys, we're gonna start watching some Tyson De La Cruz, and then we'll be wrapping up the show. So let's go ahead and tune in to Tyson, and let's watch.
Because they decided they didn't want to support law enforcement. So the breaking news tonight, I fired them all.
America, Attorney General Pam Bondi just dropped a bombshell on national TV that perfectly is how the deep state's been operating. 6 federal prosecutors in Minnesota who were supposed to be prosecuting the biggest fraud case in American history suddenly decided that they didn't want to support ICE agents risking their lives to deport criminal illegal aliens. But here's the kicker. They wanted to resign while staying on the taxpayer payroll.
You 91 Ryan.
One of them was busy doing a photo shoot with the New York Times while ICE was out there risking their lives.
Bondi's response? You're fired. No severance, no paid vacation, just immediate termination. The Trump administration is investigating who's funding groups that are putting ICE agents' lives in danger.
You never know.
Joe Thompson
you
is
might have
included in that list of resignations.
That's
Thompson
a one of a
led the
kind,
effort to
and
probe widespread
if it gets
fraud
great,
in Minnesota's social
like, comes
programs,
back good,
securing more than 60 convictions
it
in just the last year.
high amount. You know, and there's a lot of advocate collectors who love.
What is up, guys? Tyson Miller Truth here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. You know, we covered Joe Thompson quite a bit on this channel, and I thought he was doing a good job. But this perfectly illustrates how the deep state tries to sabotage particular agendas from within. Let me tell you exactly what these 6 prosecutors tried to pull. They came to the U.S. Attorney's Office and said they wanted to resign because they didn't support ICE enforcement.
They came, they said, we want to resign, but we want to use our annual leave up until April, meaning they wanted the taxpayers to pay for them to go on vacation.
Think about the audacity of that. These federal prosecutors make 6+ figures a year. They want American taxpayer people who support Trump's deportation agenda to fund their extended quote-unquote vacation.
And we learned these people had been out there interviewing at liberal law firms.
They already had their new gigs potentially lined up. One of these prosecutors, and this is absolutely wild, defended the BLM rioters in 2022 when they burned down pawn shops and somebody was murdered. So this person was prosecuting fraud cases while having previously defended violent rioters who killed somebody. And now they're claiming that they don't support ICE because of moral concerns. Come on. Now let's talk about what these prosecutors are really upset about. The Trump administration isn't just deporting illegal aliens. They're investigating who's funding groups that are obstructing ICE operations and putting agents' lives in danger.
The Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division is also seeing more resignations and protest into how this investigation into the shooting death of Renee Good unfolded.
Remember, ICE agents in general are facing an 8,000% increase in threat levels and a 1,300 increase in attacks. These aren't just random attacks of violence. We're seeing it every single day. These are coordinated efforts by organized groups, and the Trump administration wants to dive deeper on who's paying for this, who's organizing it, who's funding the resistance that's putting federal agents in danger. That's a completely legitimate law enforcement question. If groups are coordinating to obstruct federal law enforcement and creating dangerous situations that result in shootings and car rammings, the Department of Justice has every right and, frankly, the obligation to investigate who's behind this. And shout out to you guys for sending in the tips. We're going through the emails right now. Thank you very much. We're diving into them.
We support our men and women of Homeland Security and ICE who are out there taking predators off the street every day.
But these 6 prosecutors decided that investigating who's funding groups that endanger federal agents is somehow beyond the pale. And here's the thing. Joe Thompson, the lead prosecutor on the Feeding Our Future fraud case, is one of the 6 who resigned. And I personally like this guy. This is the guy who secured more than 60 convictions in the biggest fraud case in American history. He was doing some important work, but apparently his loyalty to anti-Trump resistance is stronger than his commitment to prosecuting fraud. Now the media is trying to spin this as a crisis in the Feeding Our Future prosecutions. Oh no, who's going to handle the fraud cases now that prosecutors resign? Let me tell you who's going to handle them. Prosecutors who actually want to do their job.
Defense lawyers have raised the possibility of moving the trial down to Chicago. Meantime, the U.S. Attorney's Office opposing that, arguing that jury selection can weed out biased juries.
The defense attorneys for the Feeding Our Future defendants are now trying to use this situation to their particular advantage. They're arguing that their clients, who are accused of stealing hundreds of millions of dollars, by the way, meant to feed hungry children, can't get a fair trial in Minnesota because anti-Somalia sentiment and Trump's rhetoric.
As the president says, garbage, fraudsters, murderers, pedophiles, these defendants are none of those things.
These defendants are none of those things because they're literally charged with fraud. That's what the entire case is about. They allegedly stole taxpayer money meant for children. That, my friends, is the definition of fraudster. But here's what the judge said that should concern everybody. What has me concerned are the statements coming out of Washington from the president and the VP that Somalian citizens are, quote, garbage. The judge is worried about Trump's rhetoric affecting the trial. Let me be clear about something. Trump isn't calling all Somalian citizens garbage. He's calling the people who are stealing from children garbage. There's a big difference here. And if a judge can't separate legitimate criticism of criminals from prejudice against an entire ethnic group, that's a problem with the judge, not with Trump. Here's where Pam Bondi showed exactly why Trump picked her to do this particular job. When 6 Minnesota prosecutors tried their resignation stunt, she didn't panic. She didn't negotiate. She just fired them.
We had our great men and women in the U.S. Attorney's Office in California and Eastern Michigan say, we'll come in, we'll prosecute those cases.
Think about that. Prosecutors from all jurisdictions are willing to step up to do the work that these 6 principled Minnesota prosecutors refuse to do. Bondi's message was crystal clear. Good riddance to the 6 that are gone. Our great other prosecutors from around the country are coming to protect the men and women of ICE.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Dan Bobier told the court that he is the sole prosecutor at the U.S. Attorney's Office who is assigned to the Feeding Our Future case. But he says the office has plans to hopefully assign 2 more prosecutors by the end of the week.
And it's not like the cases are going to fall apart. Dan the Man DeBeer, who's already been working on the Feeding Our Future case alongside Joe Thompson, is taking over as lead prosecutor. He was involved in the trial with Amy Batch, the mastermind behind the $250 million fraud, and he knows these cases inside and out. The work will continue. The defendants will face justice, and the 6 prosecutors who tried to turn their resignations into paid vacations are out on their butts with nothing to show for it. Let's connect the dots here because there's a bigger picture than just 6 prosecutors in Minnesota. This is a pattern on how deep state tries to sabotage Trump's agenda from within. First, they stay in their position during the transition, pretend they're doing good jobs and working for everybody. Meanwhile, they're interviewing for liberal law firms and coordinating with activist groups.
Crazy.
Second, they wait for high-profile incidents, in this case, ICE shooting in Minnesota, to create a moral crisis that justifies their resignation. Third, then they try to extract maximum value on their way out. Paid leave through April, media appearances, positioning themselves as heroes, future opportunities at firms that will pay them their resistance credentials. Fourth, they try to sabotage ongoing cases by creating the impression that the work can't continue without them. Fifth, they run to the media and paint themselves as principal public servants who couldn't in good conscience support Trump's authoritarian agenda. But Pam Bondi saw through every step of that particular playbook. She fired them before they can execute their plan. She's bringing in replacement prosecutors before the media can create a crisis narrative, and she's exposing their scheme on national television. America, what you witnessed is the difference between the Trump administration and every other Republican administration in modern history. In the past, when deep state bureaucrats tried to sabotage the president's agenda, they were allowed to resign gracefully, collect their benefits, and move on to a cushy private sector job where they could continue undermining conservative policies. Not anymore. Pam Bondi just sent a message to every federal employee who thinks that they can obstruct the agenda. Try it and you're fired. No severance, no paid vacation, no graceful exit. Meanwhile, prosecutors who actually want to do their job are stepping up to handle these cases. The deep state is learning a hard lesson. Trump's second term isn't like the first. There's no learning curve. There's no patience for resistance. You either do your job or you're gone. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, we're gonna go on to the next one. So let's go ahead and pause that and jump over to the next one.
Have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street.
America, the mayor of Minneapolis criminals, protect citizens, fight law enforcement, and watch a police chief's face when he says it. The man looks like he just heard his boss admit to a felony on camera.
We did discuss the Insurrection Act. He certainly has the constitutional authority to utilize that.
And liberals are in full panic mode because they know where the mayor literally wants cops to attack federal agents. What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Minnesota has officially become ground zero for the left's war on immigration enforcement. And what we're seeing is a complete breakdown of law and order when the Democrats are in charge. The media keeps calling these peaceful protest and community resistance. Let me show you what that actually looks like on the ground. A woman tried to ram an ICE vehicle with a car, got shot in the confrontation, and Minnesota Democrats are defending her.
The ICE agent walked away with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips.
Give me a break. He almost got ran over.
The Department of Homeland Security revealing that the ICE agent that was struck by Renee Good's vehicle on January 7th when she was fatally shot suffered internal bleeding to his torso.
Not a hip injury from closing a refrigerator door. By somebody trying to obstruct federal law enforcement.
Yeah.
And Frey's response to being caught in a lie, obviously nothing. No apology, no correction. Just move on to the next talking point about how ICE agents are terrorizing the community. Let me tell you what's really happening here.
He's lucky
These
to
are
be able
not
to like
friendly protests.
have
These
walked
are
away from that.
coordinated attacks. And shout out to everybody who's been sending in tips about where and how these protesters are getting paid. Protesters surrounding ICE vehicles, blocking them, throwing objects, and now ramming cars. And then when the agents try to defend themselves, Democrats claim the agents are the aggressors. Now let me show you what happens when these quote-unquote peaceful protesters actually tell the truth. A reporter asked a woman outside the federal building what brought her here today, and her answer here is absolutely perfect.
It all started like back when like the LA happened and when like I started taking people in LA and I saw all those riots going on. I was pumped while watching those.
She said she was inspired by the LA riots. She watched cities burn and thought, shoot, I'm freaking pumped while watching those. She's admitting on camera she came to the federal building in hopes of a riot, not peaceful protesting, not exercising her First Amendment rights, to riot.
I'm mostly out here because I'm so sick of my neighbors being taken from their fucking homes. It is disgusting.
Except her neighbors are illegal aliens who have deportation orders by federal judges. They're not being taken out of their homes unlawfully. They're being wrongfully after losing their cases in court, or maybe not even showing up at all.
I also have a friend in there right now that got arrested for protesting. The FBI and ICE tracked him down while he was helping a friend and they fucking took him.
Translation, her friend was obstructing federal law enforcement and they arrested him, and now obviously she's mad about it. This is the absolute crazy, ridiculous mentality we're dealing with here. These people, you can just ignore it. And if a federal agent tries to enforce it, you can attack them. And if you get arrested for attacking them, you are the victim. Now let's jump back to Mayor Jacob Somalia Frey's absolutely insane statement. He says residents are asking police officers to fight ICE agents on the street, not assist ICE, not coordinate with ICE, to fight with them.
We cannot be at a place right now in America where we have two governmental entities that are literally fighting one another.
But he's the one creating the situation. ICE is trying to do their job. Somalia Frey is the one telling his police force to obstruct them. And just watch the police chief's face during this press conference. The man looks absolutely horrified here. He knows what Frey is suggesting is illegal. You can't order local police to attack federal agents. That's not sanctuary city policy. That's insurrection.
This is an impossible situation that our city is presently being put in. And at the same time, we are trying to find a way forward to keep people safe, to protect our neighbors, to maintain order.
Frey keeps saying the city is in an impossible situation. It's not. The situation is actually
wife
very,
is
very
in
simple.
trouble,
Follow
too.
federal law.
This is
ICE
like a
has the
whole
legal
fucking
authority
mess.
to enforce immigration law. Minneapolis has no authority to obstruct them. And here's what makes this even more hypocritical. When Trump was president the first time and sent federal agents to Portland to protect the federal building from rioters, Democrats screamed about federal overreach and authoritarian tactics. Now, Trump is sending ICE to enforce deportation orders, which is literally ICE's job, and the Democrats are calling it tyranny. You can't have it both ways. Either federal law enforcement has authority to operate in your city, or we don't have a country. Frey, he's choosing the latter. Now, let me show you how deep this insanity goes. A Minnesota state senator was asked directly if protesters had weapons and used them to attack ICE officers. Would that change your opinion on what is happening? The answer should disqualify this person from office.
If they did, in fact, have some sort of weapons to use to attack the ICE officer, would that change your opinion of whatever unfolded next?
Actually, no. Actually, no. Protesters could use weapons to attack federal agents, and it wouldn't change the opinion about who's at fault. What?
And to see that the federal government has made a decision to attack and send more and more agents here and allow them to misbehave.
They go on to say that ICE has been illegal, aggressive, and the federal government allows them to misbehave. So in their mind, ICE agents enforcing deportation orders are misbehaving, but the protesters attacking them with weapons are just neighbors helping neighbors. Come on. This is a state senator saying this, not some random protester. An elected official who took an oath to uphold the law is openly defending violence against federal law enforcement. So what's Trump's response to all this? Obviously, they're not playing any games here.
We did discuss the Insurrection Act. He certainly has the constitutional authority to utilize that.
And she's absolutely right here. When local governments refuse to maintain order and actively obstruct federal law enforcement, the president obviously has the authority to send federal troops to restore the order.
My hope is that this leadership team in Minnesota will start to work with us to get criminals off the streets.
But here's the thing. Obviously, they haven't and they won't. Frey has made it clear he's going to resist. The state senator made it clear she's going to defend violence against ICE. The protesters have made it clear they're willing to ram federal agents and destroy federal property. So Trump is preparing to do what needs to be done. Obviously, the liberals are panicking because they know what's coming. Remember, Noam also mentioned ICE is in Minnesota because of the largest fraud scheme in American history, the Feeding Our Future case where Somalian fraudsters stole hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars meant for children. So ICE isn't there solely just for immigration enforcement. They're there because Minnesota has become a hub for organized crime that the Democrats refuse to prosecute. America, what you're watching in Minnesota is what's happening when Democrats choose criminals over citizens. The mayor who wants cops to fight federal agents. The state senator who defends
and it's in our
violence
country.
against
That's
ICE,
wild.
protesters who admit they came for a riot, and a woman who rammed a federal vehicle, caused internal bleeding to an agent, and the Democrats are claiming that she's the victim. Trump is saying no mas. He's discussing the Insurrection Act. And when it happens, remember, Democrats had every opportunity to cooperate with federal law enforcement. They chose resistance. They chose violence. They chose chaos. Now they're about to learn what happens when you F around with federal authority. The Insurrection Act isn't a threat. It's a promise. In Minnesota, it's about to find out. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, we went to the next one because we got two more of his coming through, and they're all very good. Oh, what the hell? Oh, why she was smiling?
America, we need to talk about a pattern that hardly anybody's talking about.
Quick.
Women with hair.
55-year-old Rebecca Leathers, who has been charged
Damn,
with
look at the
disorderly
hair.
conduct, resisting arrest, indecent exposure.
The other in Jacksonville, both decided to physically attack law enforcement during ICE operations.
It shows a woman being arrested after being accused of hitting a Florida Highway Patrol trooper during an immigration enforcement operation.
These women representing wrong modern liberalism. No man in their lives, no job to go to, no responsibilities, just pure, unfiltered entitlement.
Let me just tell you guys, this is not Minneapolis. That is not going to end well for you in Florida.
And he's right, because while Minnesota lets purple-haired activists run wild, Florida actually enforces the law.
That purple was crazy. Roots were all over the place.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I am tired of watching these liberal women think that they can attack federal agents and play victim when they get arrested. Today, we're breaking down two perfect examples of what happens when entitlement meets reality. Let me paint the picture for you. Rebecca Leathers, 55 years old, purple hair, lives in Cordova. And on a random weekday, instead of being at work like normal people, she's at an anti-ICE protest.
A state trooper said in a statement, Rebecca banged on the trooper's windshield and window, screaming at him and attempting to open the passenger side door.
A grown 55-year-old woman, old enough to have grandchildren, is having a full meltdown on a state trooper's car because ICE is doing their job. When they arrested her and took her into the Tennessee Highway Patrol headquarters, this woman pulled down her pants, exposed herself, and tried to urinate on the floor. And when state troopers tried to escort her to the bathroom, she started damaging and destroying property. This is a 55-year-old woman acting like a freaking toddler having a tantrum. I absolutely guarantee you this woman does not have a man in her life, because no self-respected man would tolerate this level of insanity. Look at her mugshot. Purple hair, crazy eyes going everywhere. The face of someone who's been told their entire life that their feelings matter more than law. Now she's sitting with no charges for disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, indecent exposure, vandalism, assault on an officer, and obstructing a highway. That's 7 charges because she couldn't control herself for 5 freaking minutes. Now let's talk about Jennifer Big Back Cruz in Jacksonville. Florida Attorney General James Meyer posted the arrest on social media, saying Cruz disagrees with immigration enforcement and punched a Florida Highway Patrol trooper in the face. That's it. That's the whole story. She didn't like what ICE was doing. She said, no, I don't like what ICE is doing. So she assaulted a state trooper. What an idiot.
What?
Of course. Absolutely.
Idiot.
When you look at her, big back Jennifer Cruz,
She's
got a
smiling.
chest tattoo. Let me ask you something. What sane woman do you know has a chest tattoo?
I have no tattoos.
Living a life, responsibility.
Tyson has tattoos.
What I witnessed was a traffic stop.
I have zero tattoos.
The state trooper showed up with, and so yeah, they had an operation going on.
At least the snow stopped. What?
This woman saw ICE conducting a law.
Ooh, she tried to kick her.
Decided that she was going to play liberalist action hero and punched a trooper in the face. And now she's facing multiple charges and probably wondering why her life went so wrong. These women are absolutely so desperate for attention, so desperate for purpose and meaning that they've made resisting ICE their entire identity. Both of these women, Rebecca Leathers, what a fantastic name, in Memphis, and Jennifer Cruz in Jacksonville, fit the same exact profile. Apparently, no visible male influence in their life, no husband, no male, no boyfriend, just pure, unfiltered female chaos with no masculine energy to balance it out. Unemployed or underemployed, because if you have a real job, you don't spend your Tuesday afternoon attacking state troopers and ICE operations. Physical markers of instability here, purple hair, chest tattoos. This is the kind of profiling that just screams, I make terrible decisions. Both women saw something that they didn't like and immediately resorted to physical violence against law enforcement. Who does that? This is not a coincidence. It is a pattern. It is the same pattern we see every single ICE protest across the country. Middle-aged liberal women with no responsibilities, no male figures in their life, no concept of consequences.
You have a right to go out there and criticize government policy. You can go out there and protest within, obviously respected zones. But the idea that you're going to assault one of our troopers is unacceptable, and you are going to face consequences.
DeSantis nailed it. That, my friends, is the big difference between Florida and Minnesota. In Florida, if you assault a trooper, you're getting arrested, you're getting prosecuted. In Minnesota, the mayor downplays crimes and defends you. So why do these women think that they can get away with this? Because for their entire lives, they've been told that their feelings are more important than law. They've been told that they're on the right side of history and rules don't apply to them. Rebecca Leathers genuinely believed that she can bang on troopers' windshield, try to open up his door, and face zero consequences. And she was shocked when they charged her with 7 crimes. Jennifer Cruz genuinely believed she could punch a Florida Highway Patrol officer in the face because she disagreed with ICE enforcement. And now she's facing multiple charges and a viral video that will probably follow her forever.
At no point does any available video footage show protesters threatening troopers or physically interfering with law enforcement.
Except the trooper statement says Rebecca Leathers literally tried to open up her door and banged on his windshield screaming. That's not peaceful protest, that's assault. And the fact that activists can't tell the difference shows you how delusional, crazy they've become.
These guys that are out there, they've been treated very horribly across the country, and they really have a target on their back.
Florida is cooperating with ICE, which is why you don't see the same level of conflict there.
Let me just tell you guys, this is not Minneapolis. That is not going to end well for you in Florida. Here in the state of Florida, we're going to respect that. Respect the law enforcement, respect the rule of law.
He also defended the ICE agents, kudos to him, who've been treated, honestly, very horribly across the country. That's leadership, my friends. That's what it looks like when a governor actually supports law enforcement instead of undermining them. Compare that to Memphis, where Rebecca Leathers is being defended by activists who claim she didn't know she was doing anything wrong. Or Minnesota, where the mayor wants cops to fight ICE agents. The contrast here couldn't be more clear. America, we need more of this. We need more arrests. We need more consequences, more reality checks for liberal women who think that they can assault federal agents because they disagree with immigration enforcement. Rebecca Leathers and Jennifer Cruz represent everything wrong with modern liberal activism. Entitlement without responsibility, emotion without logic, and resistance without consequences. They thought that they could attack law enforcement and play victim. Instead, they're facing multiple charges and viral videos that expose them for who they actually are. These women obviously don't have men in their lives. They're dusty, desperate, and delusional. And now they're learning what FAFO means in states that actually enforce the law. The purple hair, the chest tattoos, the complete inability to control emotions. This, my friends, needs to be studied because the pattern keeps repeating and it's destroying communities wherever these women show up. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
On the next one. We're going to catch him on the last one of the next one. Yes, it is. The last one of Tyson Cruz.
18% of the whole country's home healthcare billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. How is that possible?
America, Dr. Oz just dropped a stat that will make every taxpayer pretty pissed. 18% of the entire nation's home healthcare billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. And it's not because Californians are sicker. It's because organized crime has turned healthcare fraud into a $4.3 billion industry.
And what we have witnessed is a 7-fold increase in hospice in LA County.
And Dr. Oz said it's not because people are dying more. It's because fraudsters are cold calling healthy people and enrolling them in end-of-life care without their knowledge.
California-based healthcare system Kaiser Permanente is going to be paying $556 million to 2 whistleblowers, accusations that Kaiser exaggerated how sick patients were and to try to get more money from the government.
Trump and Oz aren't just investigating it. They're launching the Fraud Tax Project to go after these criminals using both healthcare fraud charges and tax evasion. Because when you steal from Medicare, you're also not paying taxes on the stolen money. It's a 2-for-1 prosecution strategy that's about to destroy the entire criminal ecosystem. What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. While Democrats were busy protecting illegal aliens and running interference on fraud schemes in Minnesota, Trump's team has been quietly building the biggest healthcare fraud takedown in American history. Let me start with the number that should be physically impossible here. 112 different licensed hospital agencies, all registered to a single address, one single address, 112 separate licensed hospice companies operating out of one building. It is definitely not a coincidence. That's not poor record keeping. That's an industrial fraud operation where criminals were spinning up shell companies faster than regulators can shut them down.
Dr. Oz says over $1.3 billion in federal funding was improperly spent on non-emergency care for people in the country illegally. Now he is asking why more hasn't been done to stop them.
It's not hard to actually go and visit these places if you want to.
And this explosion happened just shortly after the C-19 pandemic, when the pandemic created chaos in healthcare oversight and organized crime saw an opportunity. They started registering companies, getting Medicare billing numbers, and immediately began submitting fraudulent claims. By the time regulators caught onto this, these operations had already stolen millions of dollars and moved on to the next shell company. The California state auditor didn't just find a few bad actors. They found a systematic colonization of the hospice industry by criminal organizations. And the buildings in Van Nuys, it was probably just an office suite where somebody collected mail for the 112 different fake companies. These aren't just quote unquote paper companies. The fraudsters were mining patient data, finding people with Medicare and enrolling them without their consent.
Cold call you and say, yes, you have an illness. We think it might be one that might benefit from us. Come on in. The patients don't realize they're signing up for hospice.
Dr. Oz pointed out something that should be obvious, but apparently needs to be said. There are not 7 times more deaths in LA County than there were in 5 years. The population just didn't suddenly become terminally ill. Cancer rates didn't just all of a sudden increase. People are not dying faster. So why did hospice enrollment increase 7 times? Because scammers figured out that hospice care was an absolute cash cow. Medicare pays hospice providers a daily rate for every patient enrolled, whether you receive care or you don't receive care. You're healthy and claim that they're all done. You get paid every single day for patients.
These hospice programs.
And here's a kicker. Dr. Oz says that in a legitimate hospice care, about 90% of the patients pass away within a 6-month enrollment period. But those fraudulent operations, 0%. Everybody lives because they were never dying in the first place. And this creates a secondary victim. When somebody gets enrolled into hospice without knowing, their regular doctors stop treating them. Because if you're on hospice care, you're supposed to be receiving end-of-life care, not regular medical treatment. So these healthy people suddenly find themselves cut off from their physicians, wondering why they can't get appointments. It's a double crime: fraud against the taxpayers and medical negligence of patients. Now, while we're talking about small criminals running ghost hospices, let's not forget corporate America is playing the same game, just with better lawyers. Kaiser Permanente just agreed to pay $556 million to settlement allegations that they've been gaming Medicare Advantage for years.
This was not about the quality of care our members received. It involved a dispute about how to interpret the Medicare risk adjustment program's documentation requirements.
Kaiser's statement is pure corporate doublespeak. This was not about the quality of care our members received. It involved a dispute about how to interpret the Medicare risk adjustment program's documentation requirements. Translation: we got caught stealing, but we're going to pretend that it's just a paperwork disagreement. Here's what actually happened. The government alleges Kaiser pressured physicians to retroactively add 500,000 individual diagnosis codes to medical records. They would mine past medical histories, look at all the diagnosis, no matter how old or irrelevant, that could just justify higher Medicare payments. So if you came in for a routine checkup, Kaiser system would flag you and say that you had high blood pressure 10 years ago and add that diagnosis to your current visit, even though it wasn't discussed.
The problem here is a massive welfare state in California and in other states that is completely unfettered, without any real eligibility checks, without any real checks to make sure that our tax dollars are being spent wisely.
This is upcoding, artificially inflating how sick patients appear on paper to trigger particular higher payments with insurance companies. And Kaiser systematically across the entire network, generating hundreds of millions in fraudulent Medicare revenue. The $556 million settlement is the largest Medicare Advantage fraud case in history. But here's what should terrify you. If Kaiser, one of the most established healthcare systems in America, was running this scam for years, established is very loose here. How many other companies are doing the same thing that just haven't got caught yet? Now, let me show you just how sophisticated these fraud operations have become. In 2025, federal prosecutors took down a massive hospice fraud ring in San Fernando Valley that had built an entire empire. We're talking about identity theft infrastructure using foreign nationals as straw owners. The ringleader, Petros Fishidianaya, along with Juan Carlos Esparza and Caprice Soprania, I butchered those names completely, stole personal information from foreign nationals, people living overseas, who had no idea their identities were being used. They used these stolen identities to open up bank accounts, sign property leases, register cell phones, and interface with Medicare.
Hospices are paid by Medicare every day the patient is in care, from the day that they elect hospice care. So that's 7 days a week, including weekends. And that's regardless of the quantity or quality of services provided.
Why foreign nationals? Because they're beyond the reach of U.S. law enforcement. If investigators try to contact the quote-unquote owner of the fraudulent hospice company and that person lives in another country, good luck trying to get cooperation here. The criminals built a layer of protection that makes prosecution exponentially harder. And they didn't just stop with identity theft. They had a complete document forgery operation, creating fake IDs, fake checkbooks, credit cards, and names of these owners. When federal agents raided their residence, they found filing cabinets full of fraudulent documents for dozens of fake identities. The group operated 4 sham hospice companies between 2019 and 2023, including one called House of Angels Hospice. They stole nearly $16 million from Medicare before getting caught. And once the money came in, they laundered it through shell companies, bought high-end vehicles, obviously, including a BMW and a $90,000 luxury car to disperse the funds and hide the money trail. So what's Trump's response? He's not just going after these criminals for healthcare fraud. He's hitting them with tax evasion charges as well. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Dr. Oz have launched the Fraud Tax Project to create dual prosecution strategy.
Well, we're not going to play these games anymore. We're not going to be intimidated by Democrats launching baseless slurs against Republicans for being racist. We're looking for fraud, and we're looking to make sure that our tax dollars are being stewarded wisely.
CMS is now collaborating with state tax authorities to catch operators who are committing both crimes simultaneously. And as of January 2026, they placed all newly enrollment hospices in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Texas under provisional period of enhanced oversight to stop the potential bleeding.
The goal, it says, to crack down on fraud targeting government programs, including nonprofits, federally funded assistance programs, and more. According to the White House, federal officials will work to identify and stop sophisticated fraud schemes across the nation, prosecuting when necessary.
Dr. Oz also noted that the tax fraud convictions are faster than traditional healthcare prosecutions. Instead of spending years building a complex Medicare fraud case, you can nail somebody on tax evasion in months and immediately revoke their ability to bill Medicare. It's a strategic shift that's going to accelerate enforcement dramatically. America, what we're witnessing is a systematic dismantling of a $4.3 billion criminal empire that Democrats allowed to flourish for years. While California regulators looked the other way, organized crime built an industrial scale fraud operation using stolen identities, ghost companies, and health and hospice. Dr. Oz and Trump aren't playing defense anymore. The Fraud Tax Project is hitting these criminals from multiple angles: healthcare fraud, tax evasion, money laundering, identity theft. Kaiser just paid $560 million for upcoding. The San Fernando Valley ring just got dismantled for using foreign nationals as straw owners. And the 112 fake hospices registered at one address are about to get shut down. Working families were being crushed by higher taxes while billions get sucked out of the system by fraudsters. Trump's bringing radical transparency and victim-centered justice. The criminals had their run. Now it's time to pay. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, thanks and great upload there. And we got one last video of the night. And that last video is going to Jason A. So let's go ahead and set this up and let's watch.
Former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Special Envoy for the Middle East Steve Witkoff will form part of the team. Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who is one of his senior advisors, has also been named. The US president will chair the board. It's part of Mr. Trump's 20-point peace plan.
Now, one other development today, US President Donald Trump invited the prime minister to join Trump's Board of Peace. That is the multinational institution charged with overseeing the reconstruction of Gaza. And Prime Minister Carney has accepted the invitation.
The progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Prime Minister Mark Carney speaking during a high-stakes trade mission in China. Both Canada and China have now signed an economic and trade cooperation roadmap.
Even as the U.S. president is seeking to corner Beijing, Canada has signaled a new world order by forging a new strategic partnership with China. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney held talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. This is the first visit by a Canadian Prime Minister to China in 8 years.
According to the White House release, there will be two executive bodies under the Gaza Board of Peace. The first is called the Founding Executive Board, consisting of 7 members, and the second is called the Gaza Executive Board, consisting of 11 members.
The list includes U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, who led the UK into the Iraq War. Also on the list are billionaire private equity executive Mark Rowan and World Bank President Ajay Banga. Chairing the board, of course, is President Donald Trump himself.
It is my great honor to announce that the Board of Peace has been formed. I can say with certainty that it is the greatest and most prestigious board ever assembled at any time, any place.
President Trump is, though, assembling a group of officials to oversee the reconstruction of Gaza. He is calling it a, quote, Board of Peace. The group is a key step in the United Nations-backed American plan to demilitarize and rebuild Gaza. The board includes U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. The White House has also invited leaders from Albania, Argentina, Paraguay, and Turkey to join the board.
We're going to be given a very short period of time to disarm, and we'll see how that works out. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be in charge of that from our side. But if they don't disarm, as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay for them. And we don't want that. We're not looking for that. But they have to disarm within a fairly short period of time.
What was also extremely interesting about this meeting between these two leaders was the pressure that they are indicating they're going to put on Iran. Now, of course, there's a lot of protests and unrest in Iran at the moment. The currency has crashed. It's an interesting time for Trump to signal that this is that they will go back in and they will destroy those weapons and missiles if they become aware of them. So this was an incredibly strong meeting with a lot of rhetoric that we come to know from both of these men, but particularly at this time of year, I think really interesting that they are not letting up on any of this messaging in this region.
We have new details out of the Middle East tonight. Iran's leader taking aim at President Trump, saying he is guilty for the casualties and damage left behind in the capital city. He claims Trump slandered the nation and encouraged the protests. President Trump, though, pushing back on those allegations, calling for an end to the current regime's rule. The president previously threatened to take action against Iran's government if it did not stop killing civilians. On Friday, he praised it for sparing protesters.
Did Arab and Israeli officials convince you to not strike Iran?
Nobody convinced me. I convinced myself. You had yesterday scheduled over 800 hangings. They didn't hang anyone. They canceled the hangings.
The president failed to provide a source to back up the claim that 800 protesters were spared.
The strength of the United States and Israel's friendship taking a new step forward as Prime Minister Netanyahu awarded Trump his country's highest honor, the Israel Prize.
It's going to be awarded to President Donald J. Trump for his tremendous contributions to Israel and the Jewish people.
I don't know, man.
President Trump, who campaigned on being a peacetime president, all eyes are now on whether he can secure peace in the Middle East, as promised.
Delusion.
And there's been a certain amount of confusion. So this is what we know, just to be clear. There are 4 layers to this. Right at the top is the Board of Peace, which has been talked about for a while. And we only know one person who is going to be on that Board of Peace, and that is Donald Trump, who will be the chair of it. The places on it will all be taken up by serving
Trump.
National leaders.
Oh, you gotta blame
so
Trump
I'd imagine Keir
everything.
Starmer, Giorgia Meloni, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and others will be
coward,
invited to
easy
be
way out.
on that. There's been a lot of talk of Tony Blair being on the Board of Peace. He isn't. So where he is, then the second layer down is this executive board. And everybody on that is an American citizen other than Tony Blair. As you said, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Marco Rubio, Mark Rowan, who's the boss of a big private equity firm. He's on that. There's a national security advisor and also the head of the World Bank. Then right, sort of layer number 4, if you want, which is already up and running, is this group of Palestinians who are dealing really on the ground with issues, whether that is construction or sanitation, health, or even religious issues. They are dealing with that on the ground. They're called the Technocratic Committee, or that's how they're referred to. And then there's another one which is between those two, between the kind of number 2, this executive board, and what's happening on the ground. And that's confusingly also called an executive committee, and also has on it Tony Blair, Marco Rubio, Witkoff, Kushner, but has also people from this region, including the Egyptian intelligence chief. There is a minister from Dubai, the only woman who's involved in this so far. So, look, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of power clearly invested in the United States at the top. Now, let me just add a bit more to it. Now you've got a guy called Nikola Mladenov, who's a Bulgarian diplomat, who is going to be the high representative, again, dealing on the ground, linking up the Gazans with these executive board. And now we also know that General Jasper Jeffords, an American, of course, will be head of the stabilization force, but we don't know what troops are going to be in that. We don't really know what their mandate is going to be operating on the ground in Gaza. So, as so often, we've got a kind of temptingly significant amount of information, but we don't have all the answers.
The opportunity for prosperity and peace in the region is real. We just need to make sure we don't think we're done and stay after this. If we get it right, really good things can happen. And that's really about putting America first. If we get the stability in the Middle East, it's great for the United States.
I watched Santa Rand poll over the weekend say, I wish President Trump would just pull our troops out of Syria. This way we wouldn't have any casualties.
So, look, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of power clearly invested in the United States at the top. Now, let me just add a bit more to it. Now you've got a guy called Nikola Mladenov, who's a Bulgarian diplomat, who is going to be the high representative, again, dealing on the ground, linking up the Gazans with these executive board. And now we also know that General Jasper Jeffords, an American, of course, will be head of the stabilization force, but we don't know what troops are going to be in that. We don't really know what their mandate is going to be operating on the ground in Gaza. So, as so often, we've got a kind of temptingly significant amount of information, but we don't have all the answers. Now, there's been a lot of heat around Tony Blair, around this question of his reputation. And certainly he can be a divisive figure in this region. A lot of people remember his decision to take the UK into the Iraq War. There are others, though, who say, look, the Good Friday Agreement was an extraordinary effort at bringing communities together. He's a man who has spent years here, part of the Quadrant. And within many countries in this region, he is seen to understand transactional nature that unites some leaders here with the Trump administration. So he can be divisive here, but I would say at the moment there are plenty who are prepared to give him a crack and to stand back and see how will this, what on the one hand seems quite unwieldy structure, how will it work in practice? A lot of people want us to succeed.
Mm. All right. Well, that is the last show of the night. Thank you, Jason A. Good upload. But it's late. It's already time to turn in. It was a great show. Good little Sunday show. Got all the videos that I wanted to watched. And my back is killing me. My back is just giving me like this crazy like spasms. And I took my medicine for the spasms, but man, it's just hurting. So I'm going to get off of here. So continue having your great little weekend. It's almost over. We're heading right into the Monday. And damn, my birthday's just a couple of days away. My goodness, just thinking about it, it's only 3 days away. Birthday's on the 21st. So that'd be on Wednesday. So that should be a cool day. I am going to do a show. I'll probably come on here for a little bit. I'll probably go eat before I do the show because I want to go eat something for my birthday. Have a nice little birthday meal. Have me a nice steak or something. With vegetables. With salad. Making me hungry. All right, you guys. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll be back on here tomorrow at 7:30 as usual. Have a good night, and I'll see y'all later.